Okay, we're going to get started. Aloha kākou. Welcome to the Hawaii County Council. We are located here in the West Hawaii Civic Center. This is our 31st session. Today's date is January 22nd, 2016. Current time is 1:05 p.m. Just note to please turn off your cell phones or at least put it on the silent mode. Appreciate that. This morning we have our invocation from Pastor Jason Meechin. Aloha, Pastor. Mahalo for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for the privilege of being here and doing this. I consider it so. The word invocation is interesting. To invoke means to petition, or more accurately, to call down. So I'm going to call down right now the presence of God upon the county council meeting today, and with that, an illumination for each of our council members to see what the issues are, and more importantly, to see the pathway ahead. And Father, I thank you for wisdom for each council person, each person that's presenting an issue today. And Lord, we thank you that in a divergent culture with many different ways of seeing things, that there can be a place of agreement here in what's best for the people of Hawaii County. Father, I lift up our council members and their families. They all have made a sacrifice to be here and to serve. And Father, I thank you that in their serving, that it opens a door for a blessing upon them and their families. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our council members and our beautiful island, our wonderful people, in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you.
Mahalo, Pastor Meechin. If you could put it on the corner right there, that'd be perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Chung. Ms. David.
Here.
Ms. Eoff. Mr. Ilagan.
Present.
Mr. Onishi. Mr. Paleka.
Here.
Ms. Poindexter.
Here.
Ms. Willie.
Here.
Chair Kunua.
Here.
Chair Kunua, you have 8 members present.
Thank you very much. And also wanted to, I do have memos from the council members located in Hilo that they did have a RSVP recognition luncheon that they went to, and a few of them have meetings this evening, so they decided to stay in Hilo to participate via our wonderful video conferencing system. So just for the public's knowledge and for the rest of the council members that that they will be participating from Hilo, and Mr. Onishi should be present pretty soon because I also got a memo from him saying that he will be part of our council today, but he will be in Hilo. So please let me know when Mr. Onishi comes back so I can put him on for the record. Okay, Ms. David, may you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Mahalo, Ms. David. Before we get into public testimony, we have a certificate presentation from Ms. Willie. So Ms. Willie, when you're ready, you may have the floor.
Okay. So, this is a commendation for Mr. Fred Cachola, one of our living treasures on this island. And Fred, if you would come forward.
Margaret, make sure to bring it close so we can all hear.
Okay. The Hawaii County Council hereby presents this certificate to Fred Kealakehe Kachola Jr. It takes a special kind of person to leave his small rural hometown at a very young age, orphaned at age 8, never having lived anywhere else, and where pounding poi was the norm, moving to the big city of Oahu to attend Kamehameha ROTC, School for Boys, where you had to wear shoes which had to be shined, a khaki military uniform, no wrinkles allowed with a tie, and where protocol dictated that all students stand behind their seat in the cafeteria until the bugle signaled that you could then sit to eat your meal. This put a new meaning to culture shock. Fred was not sure this was the place for him until he went to music class. The first song the boys chose to sing was from the song contest. He had no idea what this was about. Ahi Vela, in harmony, and Fred found heaven. From that moment on, Fred decided to stay at Kamehameha School and wanted to learn all of the Hawaiian songs, and he hasn't stopped singing since. Fred realized that the avenue he had to travel to college was through the military, so he joined the Army and through the GI Bill graduated with a degree in teaching. He returned to Hawaii and accepted a position teaching at Waianae Intermediate, and then became the principal of Nanakuli School. He also served on the advisory council of the Liliuokalani Trust, and in 2005 he received the Order of Kealakehe Pauahi Award for Extraordinary Lifetime Contributions. He authored legislation to establish the State Commission to preserve the Kamehameha birthstones at Kokoiki at Kohala, and served as executive secretary for the commission. He also integrally assisted with the preservation and restoration of the Kuiloa Puna na Ula and Kamailile Heiau, and as president of Makani Hoi o Koloko Honokohau. He was instrumental in establishing the Koloko Honokohau National Historic Park. Recently, he was one of the primary organizers of the celebrated 2015 Kohala reunion, and he currently serves on the Island Burial Council. And he is also about to go off to Oahu with other members or Hawaiians looking at the working to form a Hawaiian government. Those who know and describe Fred Kachola would say he has demonstrated the deepest sense of Kuleana to his Hawaiian heritage and community, and that he has always showed foresight fostering the cultural, historical, and natural resources of Hawaii Island. As the song Ahi Vila depicts, Fred was the fire of love for Hawaii. It is with great pride and pleasure that the County Council extends its deepest appreciation and gratitude to Fred Kachola Jr. for being one of our living treasures. If others follow and embrace his efforts, Hawaii will truly be in good, safe hands. Thank you, Fred. I'm going to let him speak and then we take a recess.
Aloha kako, aloha kako. Thank you very much, Margaret and members of the council. This is indeed a proud moment for me. And growing up as a young kid in Kohala, I never dreamed that I would be able to do all the things I did, especially being orphaned at 8 years old. But life has been good, and I think Hawaii is one of the best places to be at, and it's been my privilege and honor to continue to make this whole state and community, and especially Kohala, a much better place to live. Thank you. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Fred. And now if we could take a brief recess just for a photograph.
Sure. We are now in recess. Miss Willie, for that beautiful presentation. I don't see any more certificates to present, so I'm going to move on with the agenda with statements from the public on agenda items. We currently have 3 here in Kona, and I'd like to bring them up before I go to the other sites. First up, Carol Matayoshi and Cliff Kopp. And we'll check with the outer sites. Hilo, aloha Hilo, is there anybody there wishing to testify?
Aloha, Chair. We have 6 so far signed up to testify in Hilo.
Okay, thank you. I will come back to you after Kona. Aloha, Pahoa, anybody there wishing to testify?
Aloha, Mr. Chair. I have 5 signed up to testify today.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I have 5 signed up.
Okay, thank you very much. We will come back to you. Aloha Na'alehu. Is there anybody there wishing to testify?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. We have no testifiers today.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Waimea. Good afternoon, Waimea.
Aloha, Chair. We currently do not have any testifiers for council today.
Okay, thank you. Just let us know if there's anybody there that shows up. And then off to North Kohala. Good afternoon.
Aloha, Chair. I have no testifiers, 1 CDP nominee.
Okay, and who is that?
Mr. Jack Hoyt.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, starting here in Kona, Ms. Matayoshi and Mr. Kopp. I don't see Cliff Kopp. He might be outside. Debbie Baker. Again, to all those who wishing to testify, you have 3 minutes on each agenda item. We will notify you when you have 30 seconds left to testify. But if you could restate your name for the record and make sure your microphone is on first. There's a button at the bottom of the microphone. It should be green. And just bring it as close as possible, because sometimes we won't be able to hear you clearly. You got to press the button at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Now I see the lights on. Okay. Aloha, council members. My name is Carol Matayoshi. I'm the grant writer for Going Home Hawaii, and I'm here to support Resolution 373-16 to provide a grant for Going Home Hawaii's In-Reach and Reintegration Program. This program is designed to promote and support the National Stepping Up initiative by utilizing best practices, which include jail in-reach, which involves engaging with inmates prior to release to build rapport, to assess and identify their needs and barriers, to develop transition plans that would include linkages to treatment providers and other supportive services in the community, to address those needs and barriers, and to facilitate their successful reentry into the community. This program would coordinate the transition plan through intensive case management and mentoring services, which would provide supportive personal support for the inmates during this critical time of transition. The goals of the program are to reduce the numbers of homeless and mentally ill inmates at Hawaii Community Correctional Center, which in turn would help to alleviate their huge overcrowding problem, to reduce the recidivism of mentally ill offenders charged with nonviolent offenses, and to put an end to this continuous cycling in and out of jail of these offenders, many of whom are chronically homeless. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to the Stepping Up initiative.
Mahalo, Carol. And I know you said earlier that you have a plane to catch so that we could put it up earlier on the agenda.
Thank you.
We're going to try to get it up as quick as possible. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Baker.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Debbie Baker, Executive Director, Kailua Village Business Improvement District. Commenting on Bill 136 for West Hawaii micro housing. Last week, the Kailua Village Business Improvement District was informed of the County of Hawaii's plans to construct micro housing units to shelter another 40 people adjacent to the Friendly Place Day Shelter and the existing 31-unit emergency shelter off Pabai Place in Kona's Old Industrial Area. Should this proposed project proceed, there will be significant impacts felt by the surrounding business and landowners. Certainly, we agree there is a deep need to address the sheltering and social needs of Kona's chronic homeless individuals. Is this proposed location appropriate for the addition of non-conforming residential use within a busy light industrial corridor? Should this facility be constructed, KVBID's concerns regarding project impacts, including pedestrian and vehicular access, safety, lighting, roadway improvements, loitering, nuisance complaints, and vagrancy need to be addressed. These same ongoing concerns were voiced years ago after the existing shelters opened. An offer was made by a private landowner to relocate these facilities to an alternate site on a larger land parcel near town. Has this proposal been given due consideration? In the haste to meet a state-imposed deadline, meaningful community outreach has been overlooked. In summary, we met with the county managing director, housing director, and several others and voiced our concerns. KVBID encourages county administration and their housing agency to continue to outreach and collaborate with the Kona community and its stakeholders. Thank you.
Mahalo for your testimony. Okay, moving on to Hilo. Aloha, Hilo. You can introduce your first two testifiers.
Our first two testifiers, the first speaker will be Les Estrella, representing Going Home Hawaii, to be followed by Marcia May.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Les Estrella. I currently serve as the board president for Going Home Hawaii, which is a nonprofit organization for the Hawaii Island Going Home Consortium. Our mission is to assist Hawaii Island men and women released from correctional institutions with reintegration into community life through employment, training, and appropriate supportive services. I am here in support of Resolution 373-16, requesting funds to support the goals of Stepping Up initiative through the In-Reach and Reintegration Program. If approved, the funding will be used to continue the lengthy process to develop an actionable plan that can be used to achieve county and state system changes and implement cost-effective approaches to reduce the recidivism for the mentally ill, nonviolent offenders at Hawaii Community Correctional Center. We are already working on following a six-step action plan from the Stepping Up Initiative Toolkit and Resource Guide. This comprehensive approach draws upon best practices throughout the country and provides us with concrete steps to follow. Our initial work will focus on convening diverse leaders and stakeholders, collecting and reviewing prevalence data, examining treatment and service capacity, identifying policy and resource barriers, and developing a plan with measurable outcomes. This funding will allow us to achieve significant strides towards achieving these early objectives of this initiative and will provide us with critical leveraging of additional funding opportunities. We appreciate your involvement surrounding this important community issue and your commitment to work together to reduce recidivism for the mentally ill, nonviolent offenders in our jail. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Marcia May, and she will be speaking on two items.
Aloha, Abigail. My first inquiry is from being here last year, and interesting that nonviolent crimes have been mentioned today already. This would be for violent crimes. We have a training that's going on in our department at the university, in the Department of Pharmacy, and last year, at the same time, for the same amount of money, the professor came and mentioned how the training would happen. And my inquiry is, if this is being implemented now, if we actually do have forensics that are immediate, that
excuse me, hold on real quickly. Sorry to interrupt you, but we're having a hard time hearing you completely clearly on the Kona side. So maybe if you move your microphone up 3 inches away from, we might be able to hear you better.
Oh. Aloha, Abigail.
Okay, you may begin again. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
Aloha, Abigail. I'm sorry to start off wrong. Okay. Bill 132 is involved with violent crime and forensics. Last year at this time, I came because I also help with crime and drug prevention in the Puna area through the prosecutor's office and also the provider of this grant. And I wanted to make sure that we aren't having a rubber stamp on something that we don't know if it's being implemented in the community to prevent further damage to the family and victims, or if we now have an upgrade in the forensics that we can offer on this island to the crimes on this island, and if it's immediate. I don't know if you set up anything to find out what's happened to this grant, or if we do provide better services, but I would appreciate hearing from you on that, and I know I can't go around to the different departments to find that out. My second is for Bill 133, which gives $1,000 to the DARE and policing officers who help in the community with drug and crime prevention with our young people. They attend our functions, they work at the schools, they offer their services, and High Pal is being given $1,000, which to me is totally inadequate for the amount of work that they do. I know our community policing officers and DARE officers also do regular duty, that they really are caring people in our community. So when they do meet with the young people on the basis where they're somebody's dad, somebody's son, somebody's uncle, somebody's father, that our young people have a time to have contact with them and realize the dedication they have to their duty. And I would appreciate the increase so that when they do come to these functions, they have adequate supplies and are able to offer things to our young people. Thank you.
Mahalo for your testimony. Moving on to Pahoa. Aloha, Pahoa. You can introduce your next two testifiers.
Aloha. My first testifier I have is Patrice McDonald, speaking on comment number 627 and also on resolution 360-16 draft 2.
My concern of this nomination for Mr. Lawrence M. Brown is we have not been told if it's the same as Larry Brown from the planning department. So it's with reservations depending on who Lawrence M. Brown is. The second nomination of Frank Commendador from Fern Acres. We just had Patty Pinto from Fern Acres, the smallest subdivision out of 45 subdivisions on the CDP. For 10 years, Hawaiian Acres has been trying to give input and their written plan to County Council and the CDP and have been totally ignored. We feel that you need more diversification in these nominations. Can I testify on the second one? Yeah. We need more diversification. Patty Pinto and Frank Helmet are the same person. Where's the second? Sorry. Resolution 360-16 accepts donation of Lot 31 for Hawaiian Paradise Park subdivision. Our reservation is that you are once again giving HPP, which is only one subdivision, a donation of approximately 20 acres and the money for a private subdivision. So far, District 5 has never received from the first CDP any of the 2% open space fund, our park funds, our money for our community center, our maintenance of the Moho Road easement is all in non-compliance, and we feel that that is a priority over a private park in Hawaiian Paradise Park, which has gotten most of the CDP money. Mahalo.
My next testifier I have is Joyce Alberta Colina, speaking in support of Bill 101.
Thank you. Am I close enough to the microphone? Can you turn this? ethics. This is an ethics bill. It's Ethics 101, folks. And that's an interesting way to present this bill because it's my very firm belief that the ethics board needs to be redone. And I have in front of me draft 2. Pardon me. I understand there's a draft 3 because it's my understanding that Councilwoman Margaret Willey is going to present some additional amendments. I would assume they'd be substantive. I don't know. I haven't seen them. But I absolutely have to say to you that this board needs to be increased in membership so that we get rid of the monopoly of 3. As far as I'm concerned, the present ethics board is unethical in its procedures and its makeup. Whatever the forthcoming additional amendments will bring to this bill, I strongly hope that the 9-member membership is retained in this bill and passes. And I thoroughly approve and support the difference of how the ethics board members are selected. I feel that the administration, the mayor, has been rather top-heavy, and we don't have any more than, 3 members? Well, we have as a quorum right now, and it's really difficult to get something done with only 3 members to this ethics board. Oh, it's supposed to have 5. We have 9. We have a quorum, mandatory quorum of 5. Then we're going to see real deliberation and real, honest, ethical movement and decisions by this ethics board for the County of Hawaii. Thank you, Margaret Willey. Again, you're leading the pack.
All of your testimony, both your testimonies. I think we will come back here to Kona unless Ka'u, Waimea, or North Kohala have any more testifiers. Okay, seeing or hearing none, I will come back here to Kona. Mr. Cliff Kopp and Greg. You can say your last name when you get up to the testifier table, but first up, Mr. Kopp, if you could just introduce yourself for the record. Make sure the microphone is on. First, there's a button at the bottom.
Okay, we're on.
And go right ahead.
My name's Dr. Clifford Kopp. I'm speaking to Bill 136. Bill 136 is a step forward, but unfortunately only a minimal step. If adopted and implemented, some 32 beds will be established for homeless individuals. However, this county has an estimated 1,300 people that are homeless, 400 of them children. I understand that county officials have been working to find solutions for this problem for more than 2 years through the CHIRP effort. Given this length of time and the number of unsheltered people, 32 beds is inadequate, as it addresses less than 3% of the issue and 0% of the mothers and the children who, for no fault of their own, are living an unsheltered existence in Hawaii County. Why are we afraid to think bigger? Why, when we've known about this problem for so long, do we prepare legislation for only 32 beds? How long are we going to have to wait to see meaningful, long-term, coordinated shelters which offer protection, hygiene, government, and social services support? Hawaii County has by far the smallest number of shelter beds based on population anywhere in the state of Hawaii. Based on population, we have 1/3 as many shelter beds as does either Honolulu County or Maui County. 82% of the homeless on Hawaii Island live unsheltered, which is more than double that of Oahu. It is shocking that in Hawaii County, 73% of families with children live unsheltered. That is nearly 3 times worse than the situation on Maui, where only 26% of families with children live unsheltered, and 6 times worse than on Oahu, where only 12% of families with children live unsheltered. Simply stated, there are no available beds now or into the foreseeable future. How does Hawaii County compare nationally? Nationwide, only 3% of homeless school-aged children live unsheltered. In my research, I have to date not found any county in the United States that has a higher percentage of unsheltered children than this county. In February 2008, a U.S. District Court Chief Judge ordered the Hawaii Department of Education to abide by the McKinney-Vento Act of 1986 and provide equal access to education for homeless children. Judge Gilmore ruled that the DOE must do more to identify homeless children. Has this ruling had any impact here in Hawaii County? 8 years later, and we stand by and abide children, the so-called hidden homeless, who are not attending school, and as a county and a state, we continue to place all of the responsibility on, in many cases, traumatized mothers. We need to think, plan, and create hundreds of shelter beds as a long-term solution. 32 beds in 5 years, it is not enough and says nothing to the greatness of the people of Hawaii.
If you could summarize, please. Thank you. All for your testimony. Next up, we have Greg. I don't want to totally ruin your last name. If you turn on your microphone and again restate your name for the record.
Greg Slinglaw.
Thank you.
I just didn't write anything, just learned about this yesterday. But in talking about putting more homeless or prison reintegration on Papai Street, my family's had a business in the old industrial for just shy of 30 years. And there's no problem, we have no problem with housing for the homeless. What we have a problem with is human feces, cleaning it up at our entry door in the back. What we have a problem with is calling the police over fights, and the police can't really do much. And security's been hired for the property, and they can't really do much. If you drive by our store this afternoon, you'll probably see 10 or so homeless people on the side of our building. Now, again, it's not a problem. We don't have a problem with them. It's where you're putting them. You know, we've hired some homeless people. I've tried to call Hope Services in some of this. No results from that. No help. We had to take video of someone that stays at the shelter breaking into a vehicle for them to even accept the fact that we were seeing this over there. I'm not a good public speaker, but those are our issues. Those are the issues we have with it. I don't know how those will be resolved. There's other places, I think. You know, there's properties elsewhere. We provide the tax money and the jobs that bring people out of homelessness. So to disregard our needs, and that's how we've felt this whole time with the shelter there. That's the problem we have with the issue. And it's not a police problem, because they've helped as much as they can. Really, it's the problem of the people receiving the grants to do this, who clearly don't want to work with us, because I've contacted them. And that's about it. That's about all I got. But maybe if they saw what we see and deal with what we dealt with and paid people we have to pay to clean up beer bottles, like I said, human feces at our door more than half a dozen times, maybe they would see our point. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mahalo for both of your testimonies. If you could turn off your mic. Thank you. Okay, we're going back to Hilo, and I do see that Mr. Onishi is currently in Hilo, so for the record, Mr. Onishi is back in the council meeting. Okay, Hilo, you can introduce your next two testifiers.
Our next testifier is Ku Kahakalau, representing Hawaii County Board of Ethics, and she will be speaking on 2 items.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Dr. Ku Kahakalau, and I'm currently the chair of the Hawaii Island Board of Ethics. I'm here to speak on Communication 625 and 626, and kind of just give a little brief update that would indirectly also speak to Bill 101 Draft 2. As far as the nomination of Josephine Ibarra to the Board of Ethics, I would like to state that the Board of Ethics forwarded a letter to the county in December strongly recommending Josephine Ibarra for nomination to the Board of Ethics as an outstanding community person. We feel that she will definitely bring a strong values-based agenda to the board and will allow us to do our job. The same for Communication 626 and the nomination of Rick Robinson. We also forwarded a letter to the county in December strongly recommending Mr. Rick Robinson as a member for the County of Hawaii Board of Ethics as soon as possible. And we're delighted that both of them are on your agenda today. If I can segue sort of into just a brief update, and that indirectly also speaks to Bill 101. I became the chair of the Board of Ethics in March when the term ended for two longtime board members, including the chair, and we were all of a sudden left with three people. At that time, it had not been my kuleana to find new members, but since then I have made it my personal responsibility, and I've worked many, many hours trying to get this moving. We worked all the way through the summer trying to, get things going and have the county move somebody for nomination to you folks. By fall, nothing has happened yet, and so we decided to suspend our meetings because we really, as was mentioned, couldn't function with a three-member board that needed a three-member quorum, and any decision-making, needed three members, which would have been everybody. There were certain issues that requested that some of us recused ourselves, and so, we couldn't even speak to those issues because we didn't have the quorum. And so we are just at this point very, very excited that two of our community members are willing to serve on this board, which is not an easy service. And I do want to urge you to please consider their nomination. As I said, we strongly recommend both of them to be appointed as soon as possible. In regards to the suggestions in Bill 101, we technically don't have any issues with increasing it. The main thing is that transition are made way before somebody's term expires. And so as the chair, I have made it my personal commitment, regardless of the size of the board, to start looking 6 months prior and really being as proactive as possible to ensure that this situation doesn't occur again. I don't think it was anybody's, plan. It just worked that way, and I want to thank everybody that's been working with us to make this happen. As far as the 5 to 4 years, the issue, if we're having this hard of a time to find new members, perhaps just keeping it 5 years will make it, will make it a little easier. But that's one thing that we really, and I'm speaking now. This is my personal opinion. I'm not speaking as the board chair because we have not been able to discuss this obviously at the board level. In terms of it being representative of the different districts, I don't see an issue with that. But I think what it would do is to make the process as to how people get onto the board a little bit clearer and easier, and not put the burden so much on the county and this perception of conflict of interest. If it was the council members
you have 30 seconds
who would send somebody, and then we can work together with the county to make that nomination possible as far as bringing it back to the county council. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be Janice Ikeda, representing Hope Services Hawaii, speaking in support of Bill 136.
Aloha kako, aloha Council Chair Kanuha and members of the Hawaii County Council. My name is Janice Ikeda. I am the Director of Operations for Hope Services Hawaii, and I'm here to provide testimony in support of amending Bill 136 to increase the appropriation by $650,000 as introduced by Councilmember Karen Eoff to provide for 32 permanent micro-housing units for the chronic homeless in Kailua Kona. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development defines chronic homelessness as an individual who has been homeless for 1 year or has had 4 or more episodes over the last 3 years, totaling 12 months, in conjunction with a disability. Currently, in the Kailua Kona area, Hope Services Hawaii provides outreach services, housing placement, shelter, and drop-in resources to an average of 40 chronic homeless individuals. The biggest obstacle for these clients is affordable housing. The average rental unit in the Kailua Kona area is $1,200 for a 2-bedroom apartment. And due to the mental health disorders, finding landlords who will accommodate these individuals is a secondary challenge. The only way to address homelessness is to provide adequate, affordable, and permanent housing. I'm requesting your support in passing the measure. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo for both of your testimonies. Moving on to Pahoa. Aloha, Pahoa. Can you introduce your next testifier?
Yep. Aloha, my next testifier I have is Gregory T. Smith, speaking in support of Bill 101.
Good afternoon, Council. Aloha. Bill 101, I think, is kind of a no-brainer, considering the fact of the foul-up that we've had with the Board of Ethics. Also, the fact that some people say, "Oh, well, this was not a plan." I kind of disagree with that, because there were people ready to come on the board, volunteering their time, when the mayor could have put them up, and we could have had easily a five member board of ethics. And then, of course, with our mayor's little fall from grace here, he puts in one of his personal friends to fill out at least a quorum, in which, of course, nothing can be done with a quorum of 3 unless everybody's in agreement. And then it takes how long for him to, bring forth? It's his job to bring forth, try to find people. And I think that, having 6 people vote against this out of committee, I'm rather surprised, because, this bill would absolutely make sure that we could get people in a timely fashion to the Board of Ethics, and we would have enough people, regardless, and a quorum of 5, so that we could actually conduct business with a quorum. And the fact that with more board members, we can actually have, judgments coming and opinions coming out of this ethics board. I'm amazed at that. I'm amazed at this council. 6 voted against this. What is it with this council? What are you trying to do? What does the mayor have over you? This is the perception of a lot of people. Why are you trying to support a mayor that did a criminal act? And that's about it, in my opinion, a criminal act. And this is perplexing to me. Anyway, I'd like to comment on the communications for the nomination of Josephine Ibarra and Rick Robertson. I'd say, please do nominate these people and get this Board of Ethics, and don't vote against Bill 101. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your testimony. Poa, was that your last testifier?
I have 2 more testifiers.
Okay, you can introduce your next testifier.
My next testifier I have is Judy Sumter, speaking in support of Resolution 360-16, Draft 2.
And Pahoa, you might as well just introduce the next testifier after you're finished with this testifier.
Okay.
It's on. Okay. Yes. Good afternoon, council members.
I'm here to support the passing of Resolution 360-16. And you will not only be providing thousands of people with a park, but also showing them that good things can and do happen with work and being consistent. We have over 3,000 children in the park that will all benefit from this. They will have a safe place to play. There will be safe walking paths for our seniors and for other people. We are a community of over 11,000 people, and this will greatly benefit our communication skills with each other, which are lacking. It will give us a place to meet and talk and share ideas. So I thank you so much for the process that you've been through and your consideration on this resolution. I'd also like to thank Councilmember Iligan and his staff, and Councilman Paleka and Head of Department of Planning, Mr. Santiago. Without their guidance of these people, we would still be at the drawing board. There's no flow chart or guidelines on how to go about the process of building a community with government help. And it would be, it's just we've had very positive guidance from all of our government encounters, especially from these people. We'd still be at the drawing board if it had not been for their support and their guidance. And we appreciate this. It's a good lesson, and it's showing our community that with cooperation and stuff with government and consistency, that we can all be better citizens and we can make our community better. I thank you very much.
My next testifier I have is June Conant speaking on Resolution 360-16, Draft 2.
Good afternoon. My name is June Conant. I'm also a member of the HPP Community Action Committee. And getting a park was one of the major things that when we took a survey, the people of HPP finally said, yes, we want to do this. I was part of the group that tried to get it several years ago. We didn't quite make it then, but thank goodness we've had good support from the county, from the planning department, and from our council representatives, and we certainly appreciate it. This will go a long way towards building a community in HPP that we've long had a problem with, because we don't have any place where we can go and meet and mingle with our neighbors. So thank you very much. Please support 360-16. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahalo, for all of your testimonies. Coming back here to Kona, I'd like to introduce the next two testifiers, Matson Davis and Darren Caceres. Sorry, you gotta... Press the button on the microphone. Again, 3 minutes to testify on each agenda item.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members. Thanks for taking the time to listen to testimony. My name is Matson Davis, and I am the managing partner of Manini Holdings, which is a small group of buildings just to the, I'm here to talk about Bill 136, just to the south of the Friendly Place in Kona. And we're in the process of doing some upgrades and changes there. I've been in that neighborhood now since 1997, and I've seen a lot of changes come along. I believe that our county and our community definitely needs to help support a chronic homeless issue that we have, but I don't believe that that location is the best one for it at this time. I think we need to take a longer view on this issue and really find something that's more suitable in the long term. As a member of that community, we do get a tremendous amount of issues in that area, the services that are needed, and so on. So I guess I'm here to say that I'm going to be involved in the point in time count next week. I am open for continued discussions and comments for a long-term plan. I know that there are private landowners that are willing to make some trades on property, and that we're going to continue to be developing and growing that area. You know, maybe one of the things that we do is put in the micro housing for a temporary situation, but we make it so it's movable, but we come to a plan for that. The Friendly Place at Kona should be 4 times the size that it is. It really needs some more services. So let's start planning today for what that future is going to be tomorrow, and not just make a quick decision on this one. Let's go forward. Most importantly is the safety in the neighborhood with lighting, sidewalks, curbs, gutters. There's a lot of traffic, pedestrian-wise, that's kind of cruising in there. We expect 50 more residents to be coming into that space. But with the emergency shelter being open 24 hours a day, that's going to increase the traffic at times when there isn't any lighting. Right now, people are walking down the road. There's other businesses there, and it's going to continue to grow. So safety first, short-term solutions that allow us to have long-term solutions. As our community grows, one of the fastest growing in the state, this group of people will grow, and we need to continue to provide for them in a positive way, thinking long-term. Thank you.
Mahalo for your testimony. If you could introduce yourself for the record. I totally screwed up your name, I know that.
Okay, yeah, it happens all the time. I'm Doran Caceres, and I'm opposed to Bill 136. I'm not opposed to the bill. We need to take care of the homeless. The location is what I'm opposed to. Having a business right next to it. We do see hundreds and hundreds of homeless, so having a small area to try to house them, you're only going to house so many. There's still going to be a lot more in that area, which we've seen it, vandalism, having customers and even my family members, there's only a public restroom that you need a key, that you got to make sure they're safe because there's just so many homeless people. And even where the Hope Center is, I believe that they need to have it bigger and better, so that way having it at that small area is not the greatest thing, and relocating it, having a bigger area, that way they can have everything they need, and having it back there is, to me, is like a band-aid and just kind of a short term, which is not solving the issue of the homeless. So thank you.
Mahalo for your testimony, for both of your testimonies. Moving on to Hilo. Hilo, you can introduce your next two testifiers.
Our final two testifiers will be, first to speak is Jay Kimura, and to be followed by George Yokoyama, both of whom will be speaking on Resolution 362-16, commenting.
Good afternoon, Chair Kanuha, Vice Chair Poindexter, members of the County Council. My name is Jay Kimura. I'm here to support this resolution, and I'm available for questions. The one request we have is because we're working with a possible private foundation, that the first 10-year term be changed to just stating a long-term lease so we can satisfy the requirements of the foundation.
Comments. 10-year, they want to, I applied for $141,000 to a foundation. And for that much money, just 10 years, it's not enough, they tell me. And, it's interpretations. For people, some people, 10 years is a long time. But for them, it's not long. So they don't want to spend money, So we have to boost it up. And as Jay says, we want to get the grant anyway. So we are amassing, like federal grants, state grants, and all that. And our goal is $2 million. And I think we can reach that. So would you kindly extend the lease, longer? Thank you.
Okay, mahalo for both of your testimony. Coming back here to Kona, Justin Murata and Dale Ross. Again, if you can just introduce yourselves for the record, and Mr. Murata, you may begin when you're ready. Press it one more time.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Justin Murata. I'm representing the Queen Lili'uokalani Trust. This is for Bill 136. On behalf of the Queen Liliuokalani Trust, I encourage the County of Hawaii to responsibly plan for the impacts its micro-housing project will have on the old industrial area. While it is acknowledged there is a need to address Kona's chronic homeless population, the proposed location for the micro-housing is currently unsuited for residential uses. The area is zoned MG1A, light industrial zoning, which does not allow for residential use. Furthermore, the area's current infrastructure and public spaces are not suited for full-time residents. Please consider the following. Pedestrian travel and safety are already difficult in the area and will only be made worse by the introduction of full-time residents. Sidewalks throughout the old industrial area are generally unpaved, and it is true for country roads that lead to the proposed housing site, Pavai Place and Kaiwi Street. The trust and its lessees in the old industrial area currently experience many clients of the friendly place trespassing through private property, we believe, as a more convenient or safer way to get to the friendly place. We are very concerned that the proposed micro-housing will increase the trespassing through our property without adequate improvements to the surrounding streets for safe ingress and egress. There is insufficient lighting to keep pedestrians safe at night. One business in the area anticipates 40 tractor-trailer trucks per week traveling to and from the property along Pavai Place. Paved sidewalks and better street lighting are a necessity for safety of the proposed residents. Health risks to the residents are unknown due to the industrial nature of the area. MG1A, light industrial zoning, intentionally does not allow residential uses to mitigate such risks, as was intended with the development of the old industrial area. There currently is no traffic study planned, as required for most new projects. While the impact to traffic in the area may be negligible, the potential impact is unknown. Coupled with the lack of pedestrian improvements, there is a real concern for the safety of everyone in the area. To summarize, the Queen Liliuokalani Trust encourages the County of Hawaii to responsibly plan and implement this micro-housing project by addressing necessary off-site infrastructure improvements with a portion of the funds approved for this project. Responsible implementation of any project should include mitigation of its impacts. Thank you.
Mahalo for your testimony. Ms. Ross?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Is your light on? Okay, just bring it closer to you then, since you have a softer voice.
My name is Dale Ross, and I'm here with the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney. The problems of chronic homelessness is very complex and very difficult, and we see them in the criminal justice system as well. We are in support of the Bill 136, providing for micro-housing units in Kailua Kona. The problem of chronic homeless in Kailua Kona is very visible. We see them in our courthouse as well. They are very difficult, and all of the concerns that were raised by other speakers earlier this afternoon regarding the difficulties in finding them housing impact how they move through the criminal justice system. And so we welcome any effort to provide housing for this difficult population, many of whom suffer from multifaceted needs and make it very difficult for them to get traditional housing. And I agree with the speakers who say that this is a bigger problem than these 32 units can provide. But we believe that this is a step in the right direction. We understand that the units will be portable, and that with more long-term planning that they can be moved to a more permanent location. And so we ask that this council approve this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you both for your testimony. I think we have one more here in Kona, Mr. Fernando Salas. Outer Sites, is there anybody else wishing to testify? Okay, Mr. Salas.
This one. Fernando Salas. Aloha, Chair.
Bring the microphone close so we can hear you better.
Aloha, Chair Drew Kanuha and County Council members. I'd like to take this opportunity to speak about Bill 101 and encourage to support this bill. This bill, if we look at the positive side, and is actually including each county, for each county council member to have a relationship with their citizens and the community, and is offering the opportunity for making it better to improve the quorum on the ethics committee. I'd like to mention how having 5 members seems to me like the ethics committee was broken, and now we have an opportunity to look at it in a positive way. And basically, it's part of the legislature to make policy that it requires the participation of the citizens, the local government, and it's got nothing to do with any problem outside the proposition of this bill. This bill is only inquiring for making it better, more dependable, more functional. And I strongly encourage you guys to look at it in a positive way. There are other people that still stumbling with other issues that is actually different than what this bill proposed, And also that I like to say, all these other comments other than what this bill is suggesting is in a really negative side. If we look at the positive side, it's actually giving the county council the opportunity to have a better relationship with the community.
You have 30
And
seconds.
with that said, thank you for listening to me.
Mahalo for your testimony. Is there anybody wishing to testify in the outer sites or here in Kona that we haven't gotten through yet? Please let me know. Okay, hearing or seeing none, I'm going to close public testimony and move on with the agenda. Currently, we have next on the agenda approval of minutes. Mr. Clerk, do you need to read that in or just kind of say, okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th, 2014?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. David and seconded by Ms. Eoff. Council members, any discussion? Hearing or seeing none. Okay, wait. How am I going to do everybody on the Hilo side? We might have to do a roll call with this one, with all of these.
I think that based on discussions, certain things like this, you could just ask for ayes and noes, and if you don't hear any noes, I guess the assumption would be that.
Okay, well, I think with the minutes we can move forward. All in favor of approving of the minutes for November 19, 2014, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that is 9 ayes. Motion passes. And I want to kind of go through a few of these items. I know there's a few board members that are here that weren't here the last time we went through committee, so I'd like to get them through first. I think in Hilo we have Ann Kern to the Kailua Village Design Commission. Is she here? Oh, sorry, somebody told me you're in Hilo. Okay, council members, again, these were nominees that couldn't make it the last time. We did approve of them because there were some good recommendations set forth. So they did come during the council, and I really appreciate that. But I'd like to move forward with those if it's okay with you folks. For PC, for reports, Mr. Clerk, PC 37, Communication 609.
Planning Committee Report 37, nomination of Ann Kern to the Kailua Village Design Commission.
We have a motion to approve. It's been moved by Ms. David and seconded by Ms. Eoff. Council members, we have Ms. Kern here for the Kailua Village Design Commission. If anybody has questions, please let me know. Ms. Willie.
Ann, can you please come forward?
You guys what?
Hi, Ann. Thank you for volunteering for this. And I just wondered sort of if you have a vision or any thoughts or sort of what brings you to wanting to be on this committee, and just share a little bit of your thoughts, if you do.
I have previously served on this commission and appreciated that opportunity at that time and welcome the chance to do so again. In terms of vision, I think I share this with past and present commission members. We're trying to preserve the spirit of place in Kailua Kona. And in this era of major change, it's difficult to do that. Not that we're against change in general, but we don't want to forget our culture and our history. And that is one of the major things that we look at every time various proposals come before us.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Council members here in Kona. Council members in Hilo, do you have any discussion? Is there any discussion there? Okay, no. All in favor of the motion to approve Ann Kern to the Kailua Village Design Commission and file Communication 609, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's 9 ayes. Motion passes. Congratulations and thank you again for serving. Okay, next commission member who also was not present at the committee meetings, Jack Hoyt. He is currently in North Kohala. Mr. Clerk, PC-40, Communication 611.
Planning Committee Report 40, nomination of Jack Hoyt to the North Kohala Community Development Plan Action Committee.
May I have a motion to approve and file Communication 611?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Willie? Motion by Ms. Willie and seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Willie, go right ahead.
I'm honored to have Jack Hoyt become a member, and he's been an outstanding member of the Kohala community, and I know that he will be a great addition. We've had a lot of issues about trying to fill positions on the Kohala CDP, and problems even where people are wanting to stay on until their vacancies are filled, and had problems there. So he's done a lot. I know he's very concerned with housing up there and homelessness and a lot of the issues that are really important, and has been a leader in that area. So Jack, if you wouldn't mind just sort of saying a few words and sharing yourself with the council. Maybe say a little bit of what you've done.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for nominating me. I've been a resident of North Kohala for about 20 years. I've been very active on the Coastal Access Committee since its founding, and worked for about a year with Colin Kohalo on the Housing Committee. And for me, this is just another step up and getting even more involved in support of the community. Initially, I was reluctant to commit to the 4 years, but I've changed my mind, and I'm more than willing to serve at this time. I've been an architect licensed in Hawaii since '91, and most of my interests in one way or another are related to the use of the community, housing, the coastal access, the homeless. All of those issues involve design and architecture and construction, and that's been a lifelong interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that, and I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Council members, any other discussion? None here in Kona, hearing none from Hilo. Okay, all in favor of approving Jack Hoyt to the North Kohala CDP Action Committee, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That's 9 ayes. Motion passes. Okay. Mr. Clerk, we'll do Communication 627.
Communication 627, nomination of Lawrence M. Brown to the Puna Community Development Plan Action Committee, and nomination of Frank Commendador to the Puna Community Development Plan Action Committee for Mayor William P. Kanoy, dated January 4, 2016, submitting for the Council's review and confirmation the above nominations.
We have a motion to approve, starting off with Larry Brown to the Puna CDP Action Committee.
Motion to approve.
Second. It's been moved by Ms. Willie and seconded by Mr. Paleka. Shar in the audience. Oh, aloha, Shar. If you could introduce your nominees.
Brown?
Yes, I'm here.
If you could introduce Larry Brown first.
Okay, we have Mr. Brown here in Hilo with us. He is Mayor Kinoy's nominee to the Puna Community Development Plan Action Committee for a 4-year term. He's an 18-year resident of Hawaii, and he retired from the county in 2004, where he worked as a planner for 14 years. His past experience with the planning department and the Puna CDP will be helpful in their deliberations and decisions. He states that he is not affiliated with any political party.
Thank you. Aloha, Mr. Brown. If you could introduce yourself and give a little bit of background about yourself and why you want to be on the commission.
Aloha, Chairman Drew Kanuha, and members of the council. My name is Larry Brown. I worked for the planning department for just a month shy of 15 years and retired December of 2014, the end of the year, and the last year's been pretty nice, nice and quiet. And but I think I probably polluted the landscape with enough golf balls for right now, so I think it's time for me to start giving back. I preached for years and years to our members of the community how they needed to be involved with the process of trying to improve and govern the island. And if they wanted a more responsive government, then, you know, you got to do more than a vote. And so I'm back.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it up for discussion. I think we'll start in Hilo.
Mr. Chair?
Is that Mr. Ilagan?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to show my support for Mr. Brown. He is in the district that I represent, and with his expertise, is definitely going to help the board and the action committee. And I just want to show my support, and I'm sure you're going to do great things. And I'm glad you're coming back from retirement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ilagan. Anyone else over there? Ms. Poindexter.
Yes. Thank you, Council Chair. I'd like to also say thank you. I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Brown on several items that happened in Hamakua or District 1. So I thank you for now stepping up to be a volunteer to the County of Hawaii. So you are a valuable asset to us as well. Okay? Thank you. Aloha.
No paycheck.
No paycheck.
Thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Ms. Willie.
Yeah, I strongly support Mr. Brown for the CDP, and I hope he visits the other CDP action committees because he really has a great deal of knowledge, and I was always envious that he was there when he was on the planning department assisting the Puna group and wanting to share his mana'o more. He's really knowledgeable and committed and was always looking for solutions. And perhaps he can also be an advocate to try to strengthen the administration's support for the CDPs, such as, discontinuing the practice of cutting out every other meeting and other ways that it's been, the whole program's been undermined. So thank you, Larry, and I look forward to hearing about your accomplishments and your assistance.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Ms. Eoff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add my thank you to Mr. Brown for coming back after retirement to help in his field of expertise. I'm sure it will be a great asset to the Puna CDP. Thank you.
Mahalo, Ms. Eoff. Council members, anybody else wishing to comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, Mr. Onishi.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for volunteering. But I just wanted to hear your, vision of in your area in the Puna because of the lava flow, and if you have any thoughts about maybe readjusting what the CDP is all about in that area.
Well, the lava flow certainly brought to light a very serious problem that we have in Puna, living on the flanks of a active volcano. But that doesn't belay the fact that Puna is one of the most rapidly growing areas in the entire state, even today. And while the lava flow was going on, yes, some people did move out, and things did slow down a little bit. But if you live in my street down in Hawaiian Paradise Park, the D9s are going full blast.
No, and I understand.
And we need to, yes, we do need to make some adjustments, I think. But I think we need to try to keep the overall vision and the village center concept that was the heart and soul of the Puna CDP. Exactly where should our village centers be? Yeah, we may need to look at making some changes there. But if we don't address the problems now, they're only going to get worse because people are still building and moving in. The traffic's not getting better, it's getting worse.
Right.
You still got to drive. I have to drive at least 6-7 miles to get a loaf of bread. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. No, and I understand that, but the thing is, I mean, nobody can predict when the lava flow is going to come back, right?
That's
but
right.
But it's going to be one day.
That's right.
Right, and if you look at history, like what happened to Kalapana. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering that since you're going to be on the committee, that maybe you can bring to them, some different thoughts because of your past history working on our planning department. So I'm just hoping to see that there is maybe some dialogue once you get on that committee to have something amended or to even look at it. Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you.
I would share that personally I feel that we lack sufficient information to make informed decisions. I don't think we know enough about what this volcano may or may not do and when it may or may not happen. And I don't know whether or not we have the resources within our reach to improve our understanding of what the likelihood is that the volcano, that lava flows will impact Pahoa Village, for example. But, it may not just be Pahoa. Let's not forget, Hilo's still within the bullseye of Mauna Loa.
No, and I understand that.
But what's the likelihood? But we don't have enough information to make those decisions.
But all I'm just saying is that I'm hoping that you can bring to the table, because you worked in the planning department, and that you folks at that time when the lava flow was coming, you folks were looking at like redesigning how that CDP was of. I guess the commercial areas, right? Because certain areas might have been, locked out, I guess you could say, like because of the lava flow crossing over the highways and so forth, right? So now you would have to look at how we're going to redevelop, like for example, for Paradise Park, right? Because now they wouldn't be able to go towards Pahoa where all the development is coming along, right? With all the different shopping centers that are happening. So there might have to be some development by, by Orchid Land side, like increasing development there where it's limited right now to only one certain area. So that's all I'm just saying is that hopefully you can bring that to the table because you've been in there in the dialogue from way back. And then, like I said, we cannot predict like when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen one day. But at least if we have it in the books, the people 10, 15, 20 years from now can look, okay, this is what the plan was. This is the options that they had set up in case this should happen. So that's all I'm saying is if you can at least, I'm thinking you can bring that to the table. Thank you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Onishi. Council members, any other discussion?
Chair Kunua.
Mr. Palaka, go right ahead.
Mr. Brown, I just want to thank you personally myself and on behalf of District 5 for stepping up and deciding to, they just pull you back, come back in. But thank you so much, especially with your experience. And I'm sure you'll bring your vast knowledge and expertise, and put to good use in our Puna Community Development Plan. They got a pretty good bunch of people so far. I think you'll just mix great in. In regards to concern, my main thing would be, hey, we'll be consideration is the key, I think, when we're addressing any issue. And I'm sure you don't lack any consideration of all points of view when you address say planning issues, to be specific. So.
Well, I've always believed that every opinion is worth hearing.
Yes.
You know, and if that's getting to what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we can't dwell on. I mean, we have to be able to vet those ideas and opinions and get down to where we can actually start making progress towards implementation of a plan that, you know, most of us can agree to. Nobody's going to agree with 100% with anything. So, and if we're going to wait for that, then we'll be waiting long after we're all gone.
Yeah. But thank you, Mr. Brown. And it's very reassuring that you said that we'd be open to all views and perspectives. Thank you for that. And thank you again for serving.
Mr. Chair, I just have a question.
Go right ahead, Mr. Lagan.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, I just wanted to ask you, I know you have a vision and ideas, but I don't want to ask regarding your vision or ideas. I actually wanted to ask you about the current process. Do you believe having the sunshine implemented on the action board, do you feel that that's a problem, or does that help?
One thing, it's not my vision that I'm hoping to promote. It's the vision that was expressed by the Puna community in the Puna CDP. Okay, that being said, the Sunshine Law, and that's what you're talking about, right, it's awkward, it's cumbersome. And I'm sure that the council feels the same way about it from time to time. I think it's necessary, though. And I'm only disappointed in the fact that the state legislature determined that they didn't need to be subject to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lagan. Any other discussion, council members? Okay, hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve Lawrence Brown to the Puna CDP, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9 ayes, motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Okay, Shar, can you introduce Frank Commendador?
I can do the introductions, however, Mr. Commendador is not here today.
Okay, just do the introductions and then we can move on with discussion.
He is a former member of this committee from 2009 to 2012. He's being nominated for a 4-year term, a lifelong resident of Hawaii. He is currently the president and owner of Jan Guard Hawaii Inc. He's also a coffee and tea farmer, and states that he's not affiliated with any political party.
Mahalo, Shar. May I have a motion to approve the nomination of Frank Commendador to the Puna CDP?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Paleka and seconded by Mr. David. Council members, Mr. Commendador isn't here today. As you know, he has served on the CDP before, but if there's anybody in Hilo, maybe you guys know him personally and can comment. Anybody like to start the discussion?
I can certainly do that.
Okay, Mr. Paleka.
Mr. Chair.
And also, can you give us how you would like to proceed with, because this is a Puna CDP, can you put that into your conversation as well? Go right ahead.
Certainly. I would definitely support Mr. Commendador's nomination to the Puna Community Development Plan. He's been very active with the Furnickers Community Association. Works well with, I think would be a terrific blend with current Puna Community Development Plan members. all I can say is that I do support his nomination and hope that you all agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poleka. Any other discussion in Hilo? Council members here in Kona, any discussion? I know they're having issues with quorum, so I know that's why we had to get them on this agenda. But if anybody wants to say anything, Ms. Willie, go right ahead.
Okay. I'm always reluctant to have support a nomination when a person isn't present and hasn't come, but I think under the circumstances we should move this forward and just support the Puna CDP, and the Puna folks on the council have been supportive, so I would anyway, that's my 2 cents and I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Okay.
Any other motion?
Any other discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve Frank Commendador to the Puna CDP, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's 9 ayes. Motion passes. And again, congratulations to those nominees. I really want to, before we get into the Board of Ethics nominations, I did say previously that I would take out of order Resolution 373. We have somebody here waiting that needs to go back to the airport. So if I could do that, Mr. Clerk, Resolution 373, go right ahead.
Resolution 373 transfers appropriates an appropriation out and from a designated fund account and credits same to a designated fund account to provide a grant to Going Home Hawaii to support the Stepping Up initiative. Transfers $5,000 from the Clerk Council Services Contingency Relief Account, Council District 4, and credits to the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney, Other Current Expenses Account, introduced by Mr. Ilagan.
Mr. Ilagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve Resolution 373-16.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Ilagan, seconded by Mr. Poleka. Mr. Ilagan, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know the council is fully aware of this Stepping Up initiative, and Going Home is definitely making progress in hopefully implementing some of the recommendations. And I just want to show some financial support, and I ask the council to support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ilagan. Any other council members on the Hilo side?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Poleka.
Yeah, I would also like to support this resolution. It is part of the Stepping Up initiative, and this funding is to get things rolling, to provide some services, and also to gather some data while we're spearheading this initiative that very dear to my heart regarding our mentally ill. And what's nice about this one, it addresses our homeless inmates that do unfortunately get into a cycle. And hopefully we can, this is one of those efforts that really does have an impact on those numbers, and that's what it's all about. And what I really like about this is that we might have some participation from former inmates that might, lend to this. So I think it's very important that they be mentors to themselves. We have good partners in working with this Stepping Up initiative. So I'm just asking for support. Thank you.
Mahalo, Mr. Poleka. Council members, any other discussion on this side? Okay, hearing or seeing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's 9 ayes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Clerk, we'll just go with the Communication 625.
Communication 625, nomination of Josephine L. Ibarra to the Board of Ethics from Mayor William P. Kanoy, dated January 4, 2016, submitting for the Council's review and confirmation the above nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before I ask for a motion, I'd like to hand over the chair to my Vice Chair in Hilo, Ms. Valerie Poindexter. I'm going to recuse myself because I do have a pending matter before the Board of Ethics that hasn't been heard yet. So I think it's the best thing to do at this point in time. So for the next 2 nominations, I will be recusing myself, and Ms. Poindexter will be leading the meeting. So With that, Ms. Poindexter, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Let the record show that I have assumed the chair. Can I have a motion to approve the nomination of Josephine L. Ibarra to the Board of Ethics?
So moved.
Second is, I don't hear a second.
Ms. David, second.
Okay. If you could just, because I'm in Hilo, just put on your mic and speak into the mic when you do that. Because I heard Councilmember Eoff. It's been moved by Councilmember Eoff, seconded by Councilmember David. Any discussion?
Is Shar going to introduce her?
Councilmember Onishi?
I would think that if she can get
Oh, okay. She's in Kona. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Can we put the camera on to Ms. Ibarra? Okay, Ms. Ibarra, for the record, if you could just state your name and then tell us a little bit about why you would want to sit on this board. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have Shar introduce her first. Excuse me. Thank you, Councilmember Onishi.
Thank you. Mayor Kinoy's nominee to the County of Hawaii Board of Ethics from Council District 8 is Ms. Josephine Ibarra. She is a lifelong resident of Hawaii. Presently, she is the Care Coordinator, Resident Manager of Hawaii Affordable Properties. She volunteers at St. Michael's Church in Kailua, Kona. She also volunteers with organizations that help the homeless in the Kona community. She states that she's not affiliated with any political party, and if confirmed, she will serve a term to end on December 31st of 2020. Also attached with this letter was a copy of a letter from the Chair of the Board of Ethics, Kukahakalau, recommending Ms. Ibarra's nomination to this commission.
Thank you. Ms. Ibarra, if you want to state your name and tell us a little bit about why would you want to sit on this ethics board. Thank you.
My name is Josephine L. Ibarra. I've been born and raised on this island of Hawaii. My reasoning to get involved in the ethics is to be able to be part of the community. And getting involved is the most critical thing that I need to do for myself as well as for our community.
Thank you. Open up for discussion. I see Councilmember Onishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Ms. Ibarra, for stepping up on this. But I have a couple questions. But one is for you. Is about. I guess you've heard that the problem we're having is about quorum, and so if you're nominated, if your nomination is passed by this council, would you be able to commit yourself to going to these meetings that will be held at least like once a month?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have so you will adjust your schedules to make sure that you'll be able to attend the meetings?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Because, we did pass an ethics amendment where county employees will need to have the ethics board to rule on if there's any conflict of them receiving a contract from the county. So that's going to need to be done on a monthly basis as, new contracts come in. These county employees going to have to get this approval right away. So that's one concern that I had. So the main thing is if you're okay and you're willing to be able to meet all those meetings, I'm fine with that and I'll support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My second question would be to the Corp Council. So I don't know if Mr. Yoshimoto would want to come forward because he's with the ethics board, or is someone in Kona there?
We have Mr. Bill Brahante here in Kona.
Okay, Mr. Brahante, would you want Mr. Yoshimoto come up, or would you want to come up? No?
Hello?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bahati. Can you introduce yourself?
William Brahanti, Assistant Corporation Counsel. Good
Okay,
afternoon,
thank you.
council members.
Okay, my question is, well, my concern is that we had received that letter from the chair of the Board of Ethics. I mean, I don't know, I mean, if that was like a good idea to have something submitted by that board, because, you know, to me, they should be all neutral and it should be all independent. So if the board is discussing about the nominations, then, you know, that's where I can look down the road, or there might be conflicts, right? Because of, I don't know what kind of relationship they have. So, so I just wanted to ask you if that is okay to have that recommendation.
Mr. Anishi, let me take a look at the letter. I've had a chance to review the letter, and, these type of issues come up. They have come up historically where particular members of a board or a commission, when a matter comes before this body or another body, sometimes the state legislatures, they inquire as to whether or not they can submit testimony in support of or in opposition to particular, items. What we recommend to the members when that question is posed to us from a legal standpoint is that the recommendation is, if you do, as a regular citizen, you have every right to submit testimony, in front of this particular, the county council. So with that in mind, the directive we provide to the member is that if you are going to proceed in that action, if you're going to submit something in writing, or if you're going to come and testify personally in front of the body, we recommend that you clearly indicate that you're coming through and you're presenting yourself purely on a personal, basis, and the information you're providing is not something that the board, took a vote on and took a stance on and supported, formally. So in this case, I reviewed the letter, and it seems like the recommendation is a personal recommendation from Ms. Kaha Kalau, and therefore I think it's not improper. That would be my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. In Kona, do we have anyone wishing to speak?
Yeah,
Councilmember Willie?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Yes, thank you for your willingness to participate. I feel very strongly that the people here want a high standard of ethics for government employees and to promote, trust and confidence in the government. And part of that is ensuring that there is some accountability if you violate one of those standards. It's not a criminal issue. It's ethical. Is it ethical or is it not ethical? For me, the issue hasn't just been a matter of quorum, but it's also diversity and independence, and that everyone really trusts that the individuals are there, can stand and make their own decision. And I think in a little way that was what Councilmember Onishi was sort of hinting at, is where, and I don't know whether you have a prior knowledge or acquaintance or close friendship with Ku Kakulau, or really she was just there looking to add more members. But I think I would want to know that you would make your own decisions, and it's not that you look to those who have helped get you on the board or who has appointed you, but that you're serving all of us, that we trust you to say, is there a violation? And then what if you were to find a violation, what are the circumstances, or what are the mitigating elements, and what should be the remedy for that, or the punishment, or whether it's community service, or what you would recommend. But I think So I just want to know, that you feel that you can make independent judgments and not feel, this is my first year, I have to listen to what these guys say, and, they may be more that you know that you will be trusting in your heart that you are working for the people, that you are working for the island, and, that. So just, if you could, just sort of comment on that and how you see that role.
Well, I feel that coming on board in the ethics board is for me to come in, but I'm coming in as an individual. I'm coming in to listen, and I'm coming in to voice my opinions and what we need to put together as a whole team.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you understand what I'm saying, just that it's not just the numbers for me. It's not just make sure we have enough, so we check the box. Did we have quorum today? Oh, we do or we don't, or we can do business. But that we're doing it at a level and standard that the people will be proud of on this island. So thank you, and I appreciate your willingness to be nominated. I yield.
Ms. Poindexter?
Okay. Yes, Councilmember Eoff?
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you for volunteering for the Board of Ethics. And I also wanted to thank Shar and the administration for filling out this board. We've needed additional members. We've had trouble making quorum, and so I think it's important that we do appoint new people. It's also good to see that the two appointments coming to us today are from the west side of the island, so that we've kind of accomplished some of the concerns that council members and the public have had over the last few months in discussion, that we would like to see the board more well-rounded and representative of the various districts. So all in all, I don't know you personally, but I know you're from my district, so I just wanted to say thank you. And I know it's a serious commission, and you've stated your willingness to attend the meetings and to think independently. So I just wanted to thank you again for stepping up.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Vice Chair Poindexter?
Oh, go ahead.
Is that Councilmember David?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Councilmember David?
Thank you, mahalo. I'd also like to say thank you very much, Josephine, for stepping up and taking this important nomination for this important role. I want to let my council members know that I do know Josephine, not necessarily on a personal level, but on a professional level. Her background in social services and serving the community goes way back, and I met her when I was with the Legal Aid Society, and her serving the community is outstanding. Her service to the people in our community was outstanding. So I applaud you because I know that you will be an independent thinker and you will be fair, because my experience with you has always been that you were fair and just. And so I totally support your nomination. I'm happy that we have you from District 8, and I ask for the support of our fellow council members. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, Madam Chairman, it's me, Aaron.
Okay, Councilmember Chung?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Is Chairman Kahakalau still in the Hilo chambers?
No, she, let me see if, no, she's gone. Okay, yeah, she left.
Yeah, I'm kind of troubled by the way, some of the statements that she made, and I'm glad that Mr. Onishi brought it up as well. I know she submitted a letter, and it's under her personal letterhead, but during the course of her testimony, I was actually expecting her to say that, she welcomes new members onto the board because they're having a hard time establishing a quorum. But then when she said that they made the recommendation to the administration, it's not endorsing the nomination, they made the recommendation. I want to know a little bit more about, is there anyone here who can explain what went on. And I know it's only under her letterhead, but she said, if I'm not mistaken, she seemed to imply that it was a board action.
Yeah, I don't know if, can we bring Mr. Yoshimoto up to the table, please? Thank you.
Bill Brillante is at the table as well here in
Yeah,
Poindexter.
so I'll allow Mr. Yoshimoto to speak. If you can state your name for the record before you proceed for the...
If I could just say, well, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilmember Chung, did you want to finish the question you had?
No, go ahead.
Okay, my understanding is you noticed Chairperson Kakala mentioned the word "we" in terms of supporting the nomination. Is that
I
what
thought
you were
that's
saying?
what I heard.
Yeah, and I caught that too. And to my knowledge, there has not been any board discussion about supporting any nominations. My understanding is this was the recommendation made by Ms. Kahakala on her personal behalf, and not on behalf of the board.
Okay, and really, it has nothing to do with this individual. Okay, but I think it's just such a highly unusual thing that came about, and let me be the first to go on record as saying that I would dissuade any other board or board member from doing something like that. Okay, and especially from the Board of Ethics. It just doesn't seem right. But having said that, let's now focus on this individual. And Ms. Ibarra, thank you very much for stepping up. I think, as you well know, this is and will be a hotbed of activity, right?
Yes.
Are you related to Ron Ibarra by any chance, Circuit Court Judge?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I don't know you, and I don't know of, how many members on this board actually know you personally. So we can only go on your good word, yeah, and our trust. Can you please just exercise as much independence as you can while you're carrying out your duties? Because that's all the public really expects. Yeah. As I said, I can't comment on your integrity. I'm sure you are of the highest level, of honesty and independence. But the public is really looking at this. So whenever you get the information and whatever you articulate in terms of your decision, please make sure that it's from the heart. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be swayed by any personal friendships or anything like that. And I'm not just talking about the things that are coming up, with regard to pending matters, but others as well. Because first of all, I really thank you for stepping up. But this is going to be a tough one. It's really, really tough all the way around. You might be in a no-win situation, right? But do you have anything to say in that regard?
I think right now, coming in and stepping into this position is allowing me to hopefully have my voice be heard for you as the county council, as well as for the community, and making the whole ethics board make the rightful decision.
Well, what are your philosophies about ethics? Let me just get into that.
In my own, when you say ethics, ethics, the word ethics itself has a lot. And when you're dealing with ethics, you have to look at ethics personally, professionally, and how to define it, and then yet how to justify all of it. And then putting it all together, making the right decision.
Right. Have you familiarized yourself with the code of ethics?
I worked in the social service field as far as the social. I have yet a lot to read about in what's in the regards to the county councils.
Right. But have you?
Yes,
have
I
you
have.
read the code of ethics?
Yes.
Okay. So you've been briefed by maybe Shar or
Yes.
Jay. That's good. That's very good. as I say, we place our faith in you, and just be as objective as you can, because this is really the board. And even if something seems not so popular, because you're going to hear a lot of people yelling on one side or maybe on the other, and you got to be strong, because this thing is going to be newsworthy. You're going to be in the forefront, but just be strong, use your best judgment, and just know that when we talk about trust in government, the ethics board is really that board that creates that trust and ensures the trust in government. But be strong, be objective. That's my only advice to you. Please. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Poindexter, I have something additional if there's no one else going the first time. Is Ms. Poindexter there? Earth to Valerie? Can you all in Hilo hear me? What, they're down? Okay.
But at least it makes me look friendly.
Madam Chair. Mr. Brahante, can I get you to come back up again? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Hang on. Before Mr. Brahante goes on, I think when we went into recess, I want to respect that Councilmember Chung had the floor and was asking a question. So, Councilmember Chung, I'm going to give the floor back to you.
I don't know where you guys lost me, but I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Onishi.
Okay, I'm just thinking about it. Madam Chair, would it be possible for us to go into executive session so I could have a discussion with Mr. Brahante on an issue?
Does anybody object into going into executive session? Because Councilmember Onishi, I believe your question has to do with some type of confidentiality.
Correct.
Yes. So there's some questions that are needed to be asked of Mr. Brahante that is of a confidential nature.
Yeah.
And that should not be expressed in open
public,
session right now.
Yeah,
so does anybody object to go into executive session?
Yes.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, this is your acting clerk.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
A motion second and a supermajority vote is required to enter into executive session.
Okay, so yeah, but it does. Okay, I guess we'll go to the motion first. So, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
So it's been moved by Councilmember Onishi. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilmember Paleka to go into executive session. Mr. Clerk, we can do a discussion at this point, correct?
Yes, discussion is available.
Okay, so discussion, Councilmember Onishi?
Well, I just want to ask Mr. Brahanti a couple confidential questions regarding this nominee. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion before we take a roll call vote? Okay.
I
Okay,
couldn't
Mr.
hear
Clerk,
what he said. Would you mind asking Mr. Onishi to repeat what he just said, what his reasoning is?
Councilmember Onishi?
Okay, I just have a couple questions for Mr. Brahanti on some confidential questions or issues about this applicant or nominee.
Okay, so your questions do not have to do with the process that was involved in her selection.
So, and for the record, it's Councilmember Willie speaking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilmember Willie.
Yeah, so Mr. Onishi, your questions are independent and separate from the issues of how this nominee was selected or
No, it's nothing about that.
It is about that?
It's not about that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments? Okay, Mr. Clerk, will you please take a roll call vote on the motion to go into executive session?
Mr. Chung. Ms. David.
Aye.
Ms. Yoff.
Aye.
Mr. Ilagan.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi.
Aye.
Mr. Paleka.
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter.
Aye.
Ms. Willie.
Aye.
Chair Poindexter, you have 8 ayes.
Okay, and one recused. So now we're going into executive session at this time. Oh, Ms. EF, Councilmember EF, do you want to read? Do we have to do read in that section?
No, I'm sorry, this is your acting clerk. That would have been done prior to making of the motion, so at this point in time, we'll just go ahead and prepare for executive session.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. So we are in executive session. Calling this meeting back to order. And since Councilmember Onishi was the one who had called us into executive session, I'm going to afford him the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to let the public know that I did get my information from my request from Corporation Counsel, and I'm okay with that. So I want to move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're continuing discussion on the nomination of Josephine Ibarra to the Board of Ethics. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to discuss.
Okay, Councilmember Willie?
Yes, I would like to suggest that we postpone this nomination to a later date, and that we ask that the chair of the Ethics Commission, Kealakehe, also be present at that time. And until
are you making a motion to postpone right now?
I am making a motion to postpone right now.
Okay, is there any second?
February 3rd.
To February 3rd. Okay, a motion to postpone has been made by Councilmember Willie to February 3rd. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is that Councilmember David?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's been moved by Councilmember Willie and seconded by Councilmember David that we postpone this nomination till February 3rd. Is there any discussion on the postponement? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor of the postponement say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye. Here. Me.
Okay. Can you go into your mic so they can hear?
Moi.
Okay. The council, one opposed, Councilmember Paleka. So, clerk, can you just give me that count so I can... In Kona, it was how many ayes and... Did we have any other nays?
Yes, you have sufficient votes. I count 6 ayes, 1 no, and 1 excused/recused. 7 ayes.
7 ayes. That's 7 ayes. Okay. So this nomination has been postponed to February 3rd. Mr. Clerk, will you please read into the record Communication 626?
Communication 626, nomination of G. Rick Robinson to the Board of Ethics for Mayor William P. Kanoy, dated January 4, 2016, submitting for the Council's review and confirmation the above nomination.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept the nomination of Rick Robinson to the Board of Ethics?
So moved. This is
It's been moved by
Councilmember David.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember David, seconded by Councilmember Onishi. Shar, please go ahead. Okay, first of all, I believe that Mr. Robinson was standing by on phone for us to reach him. I don't know that he still is. My understanding is that he boarded a flight at 3:45,
Okay.
I believe. So he may be in flight.
Okay. So do we just want to read in?
Do
his
you want
nomination?
to read in the nomination and we can discuss
Okay.
this and then determine what we should
Okay, I
do
can
from
read in his
here.
nomination.
Thank you.
Mayor Kinoy's nominee for the County of Hawaii Board of Ethics from Council District 6 is Mr. G. Rick Robinson. He's a 45-year resident of Hawaii. He was a member of the Civil Service Commission, which is now the Merit Appeals Board, for 2 terms. He recently completed a 5-year term as a member of the Water Board on December 31st of last year. He's a member of the Kona Coffee Cultural Festival and Council, and the Kona Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Kona Farm Bureau. He states that he's not affiliated with any political party, and if he is confirmed, he will serve a term to end on December 31st of 2020.
Thank you. Any discussion? We know that Mr. Robinson is not here, and I know, Ms. David, did you?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair
Councilmember
Poindexter.
David.
At this point in time, you are correct. Mr. Robinson is en route on a flight back to Kona, and I would like to entertain a motion to postpone his nomination as well to the February 3rd meeting.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, Councilmember, it's been moved, a motion to postpone by Councilmember David and a second by Councilmember Onishi. Is there any discussion on the postponement? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor of postponing this nomination to the February 3rd meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, I believe we have 8 ayes and 1 recused. Okay, so now we move on. Well, I'd like to give now the chair back to our Council Chair, Drew Kanuha.
Thank you, Madam Poindexter, Vice Chair Poindexter, for leading the discussion. Council members, do you need a break at this time, or are you okay to keep on going? Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Onishi.
I'm going to have to leave maybe in about half an hour. So is there a possibility to take a couple bills out of order?
Sure.
Okay, I'm looking at Bill 127 and 128, and then Bill 136.
127, 128, and 136. Okay, Mr. Clerk, just for the record, Mr. Chung had to leave this meeting right now because he needs to be back in Hilo for a community meeting. So, for the record, he is now excused for the remainder of this meeting. Mr. Clerk, can I take on Bill 127?
Sure, and I'm going to read in 128 as well.
Yep.
As a companion. Bill 127 amends the state land use boundaries maps for the County of Hawaii by changing the district classification from the agricultural district to the urban district at Panaewa House Lot 2nd Series, South Hilo, Hawaii, covered by tax map key 220560002 applicants Minoru Jr. and Catherine Takahiro, area 2.666 acres, introduced by Mr. Ilagan by request, and Bill 128 amends Section 25-8-33, City of Hilo Zone Map, Article 8, Chapter 25, Zoning Code of the Hawaii County Code, 1983, 2005 edition, by changing the district classification from agricultural 3 acres, A3A, to residential and agriculture 1/2 acre, R8.5A, Aponeva House Lot, 2nd Series, South Hilo, Hawaii, covered by tax map key 220566002. The Wind River Planning Commission forwards its favorable recommendation for this change of zone, which would allow the applicants to subdivide the property into 4 lots that the applicant's state would be conveyed to their children. Also introduced by Mr. Ergon by request.
Mr. Iligan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve Bill 127.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Iligan, seconded by Mr. Onishi. Mr. Iligan, any discussion?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Council members, any other discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 8 ayes and 1 excuse. Bill 128. May I have a motion, Mr. Iligan, for Bill 128?
Move to approve Bill 128.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Iligan, seconded by Mr. Onishi. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes, 1 excuse. Motion passes. Mr. Clerk, Bill 136. Mr. Onishi, that was the one, yeah? 136?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clerk, Bill 136.
Bill 136 amends Ordinance Number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016 as the Housing Micro-Unit Housing West Hawaii project for $650,000 to the capital budget. Funds for this project shall be provided from general obligation bonds, capital projects fund, fund balance, and or other sources, $650,000. Funds will be used to prepare and acquire 32 micro-housing units to provide permanent, long-term housing to the chronically homeless. Introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires a 2/3 vote of the entire membership.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 136.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Eoff, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask the Housing Director, Susan Akiyama, to please come forward. And while she's doing so, I'll just reiterate that this is an additional appropriation of $650,000 to add to the prior appropriation. And I'll let Ms. Akiyama explain the rest. But after you do so, or while you're doing so, there were, you weren't here, but there were several comments during public testimony and concerns raised. And I would like you to address those if someone has briefed you on some of those. And if not, we will. But
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Susan Akiyama. I'm the administrator for the Office of Housing and Community Development. So we're asking for your approval of this appropriation to do a 32-unit micro-housing project in the Kailua industrial area. I know the description of the project lists it as permanent long-term housing for the chronic homeless. And I wanted to clarify, I think this was one of the points of concern, the permanent description. So it was labeled as such. Not in the way of it being permanent to the site. In the way of funding for projects like this from HUD and the state, there are different levels of housing that is offered and funded. So you have emergency shelters, which is basically 60 days. You have transitional housing, which is 2 years, and permanent, which means there's no limit. So the term permanent means that the housing unit would be provided to the chronic homeless for as long as they need it. I want the council to know that we are planning on a design that will make the units portable. If in the future we feel that maybe the service area has changed or there's a need to move the units, we can move these units.
Could you address, I think it was a couple of the businesses that are in the surrounding area are concerned that we may need additional security with the additional number of people that will be staying in that location, as well as maybe lighting that was brought up. Is there something that the county will plan to use some of these funds for that would provide some security feeling for the neighbors?
Honestly, this funding that we are asking for is really designated for the project itself. But we will plan to have 24/7 security on property and lighting for that property. Now, as far as lighting and sidewalks and things like that for Pavai Street leading out to Kaiwi, I think is what they were concerned about. I've told the business community there that, you know, the county wants to be a good neighbor, and that we would move forward with doing this project and at the same time be willing to continue to come to the table with them to work on this. You know, I think that we all have to share that concern, and so we're more than willing to do that. But the current funding does not, won't allow me to do that type of work this first round.
I'll yield at this time. I think other council members may have additional questions, but thank you for all of that. And I know no matter where we choose to place units right now, there's going to be some concerns. And I'm glad that you said that the county will be willing to take in all those concerns and be as good a neighbors as we can be with this type of a project location. I'm understanding that time is of the essence because of the governor's emergency proclamation allows us this window of opportunity, and that's why you asked that it be waived from my committee and be addressed here at council. And we do have a second reading, so maybe you can bring back further information at that time as well.
Okay.
Okay, I'll yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yoff. Mr. Onishi, I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is anyone from the planning department there, or is any of the attorneys there?
We have several attorneys in-house, as well as several members from the planning department, Director Kanuha and Mr. Command.
Okay, we can have maybe Director Kanuha come up, and then maybe Mr. Belhunty.
Okay, thank you. We also have Amy Self as well here from the housing.
Okay. She can come up too if she wants.
Okay, go, Mr. Onishi, go right ahead. Mr. Kanuha is at the table.
Okay, you guys can introduce yourselves, please.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Dwayne Kanuha, Planning Director.
Good afternoon, council members. William Brahanti, Assistant Corporation Counsel.
Okay, thank you, guys. You know, you guys might remember this. Back last term, I wanted to do some amendments to the limited industrial district and also to the mixed commercial mixed use, and I wanted to put in village commercial in allowing in these areas to have residential or to have homes built in these areas because of the workforce, and also to have more smart growth. Looking at what's being proposed to us right now, and then, you know, I looked at the departments of finance, the request for council action, and it says background justification. It says that the micro units are provided permanent, long-term, and I know Ms. Akiyama did explain about it, but if we had passed these bills that was proposed in the last term, we wouldn't have to worry about people, I guess, or our neighbors in that areas, I guess, getting upset. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. I think I know you guys understand the basis for this particular bill at this time, and it's in response to the governor's homeless housing proclamations, which exempted or exempts a whole range of requirements, all the way from EIS requirements to just planning and zoning, actually, land use requirements and stuff. And then because this project was kind of already on the books, housing has elected to take advantage of this proclamation for this particular project at this particular location. So how that would relate to whether or not that particular ordinance was in place at the time. It would probably be about the same situation, but I think given that component, introducing a residential component into the industrial area, I might also comment that in this particular area and the surrounding environs, which is primarily, we primarily have one major landowner, and they've been doing a lot of master planning, for all of their lands. They have some applications that are going to come forth before the council for specific smaller components through the State Land Use Commission. But what they've elected to do is actually, when they come before the council, is to come in for a project district, okay, which actually gives them, in this particular instance, a lot more flexibility, than a specific introduction of more residential uses into a specific zoning code. Again, that's just speaking for this particular area related to this project. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but that's kind of my response, unless anybody has anything else they want to add.
Well, okay. I remember when we had that discussion about, these different amendments to these different districts. One was about sidewalks, which I think one of the testifiers mentioned about that in that whole area or that area, there's not going to have any sidewalks put in. And then also concerns is that, there might be, say, auto body shops coming up right next to the facility. Maybe bars might be coming up. And so it wasn't I guess it wouldn't work together with you having residential next to these different proposed or different permitted uses. And so, I just looking at this is just that what I tried to do in the past, it didn't work. But then now, when we're looking at, and I am in support of trying to get these homes for, homeless, but not looking maybe on a permanent or long term, maybe temporary, like for 60, 90 days to get them going into something more permanent and something more in one residential area instead of more of in a commercial mixed industrial area, so I just looked at this and I figured this is my opportunity to bring back on what was said before of why the councilman didn't want this to happen, but now we're going to do it on a homeless basis kind of situation. So I just wanted to say that, and if planning or any of the attorneys have anything else to say, you guys can comment now.
Just William Burhanti, just in response to that, Councilman Onishi, I think, this whole project, my understanding is that this whole project was all predicated on this proclamation that was issued by the governor. So I think that took the necessity, it took the justification and the reasons as to why the county was wanting to move forward with this project to a heightened level, to a more emergency situation. And that's the basis for this coming forward. This proclamation sets a limited term of only 12 months. So any projects that were being considered to address the homeless had to be, and this is an overused term, but almost had to be in a shovel-ready state and had to be, ready to go. And this is the project that, housing has determined and the administration has determined that is most closely aligned to meeting the requirements and with the ability to be completed within the specified period of time.
Oh.
So it's a unique
And I
situation that, occurred.
I understand that. and the thing is, but as you had heard one of the testifiers mention that he's right next, I guess, to one of the, I guess, to this property, and he mentioned that I guess he hired some of those people. And so, then we look at like that could be a resource for workforce development, utilizing the people who participate in this program and finding them jobs around that area, right? So that's just something that I was, I just wanted to bring up because I had proposed bills before, amendments, and it never could move forward. But then now, with like you said, proclamation by the governor giving the waiving all the restrictions on zoning and so forth and permitting, now we can do it, right? But we could have done that from before, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. Ms. David.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I would just like to acknowledge that the people that came forward and testified, the landowner, they do have valid reasons and concerns about this project. But, given all of that, I believe that with our homeless issues, we have to start somewhere. And I believe this is something that will, as Ms. Akiyama stated, this development is going to be made portable. So if something comes up later on, a new area, a bigger area, facility where we can move them in a concentrated area, which is probably the ideal at this point in time. But I think for now, I will support this because I believe that the concerns, I think you've addressed some of them as far as security, and I would really want that one of the things they mentioned is outreach to the landowner and the businesses around there as you try to implement some of the mitigation measures for security, etc. So I will support this, and I thank you folks for taking that first step and capitalizing on a situation that otherwise will not have made this happen. So mahalo for all you folks do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. David. I'm going to go to Ms. Willie and then ask if anybody in Hilo council members want to comment. Ms. Willie?
One thing that I learned from Dr. Kopf is really that, there are some folks that just need housing. That's their need. And then there are others that have a lot of other needs in addition that need to be addressed. I'm supportive of this project, but I really feel that we need to decide who would be in that housing. And if it's only that we're really providing housing and not all of the wraparound services, then it should be those who basically only need housing. That it should not be, unless you all can tell me these are the social services that are going to be available to these people so that we're not adding one more problem where it exists, then, I think it's not going to work. We're just going to really get more divisiveness in the community. So I think that there is a challenge here. I think we want it to be where these people actually are contributing in that area. So maybe, Susan, you could just come forward. Whereas, to the extent where it's people that are needy, what is the need that we're filling? If we're filling people that are needy, that they basically need a bed, that they're not just needing, whether it's a lot of mental health services or physical health. I know, someone a homeless person I was talking to, his leg was broken and he could hardly get around. And, just sort of, housing is one service, but what are all the other needs? So that's really my concern. If you're going to be providing just housing, then we need to be providing that the people that we're getting that are the people that need the just housing, and not the people, if you're saying we've got these wraparound services and we've got this and therefore providing, then that's different. But I really think that we're only going to dig ourselves in deeper problems if we're providing just housing to people that need much more and putting them in a circumstance that's right next to others where it's not residential, we're already skipping. I really don't, another thing, just that I don't like it where the county says we impose these requirements on others, but we as a county exempt ourselves. I don't buy that. That's not right. We need to exemplify what we require of others. But just, in terms of that and who would be provided, how do you go about selecting those people that have this, need? I felt like that transitional housing when it was in Kauai was really worked well. I mean, and other people in the community really, they needed housing, There are people that had no place to live, that they maybe had a job here, and I was really sorry that it got moved. But anyway, if you could just respond to that, sort of differentiating between those that need housing.
Your microphone. And could you restate your name again for the record?
Susan Akiyama. I very much agree with you that this population we're trying to serve, which is the chronic homeless, are also not only need permanent housing or stable housing, but they need services. So this particular property, when we go out to hire a property manager for this property, they will be required to offer services as well to this population. In the past, the state and the federal government, I see a shift in the way that we're trying to provide services to this population. In the past, we would build facilities and we would say to these individuals that you have to be clean and sober when you come in. And we found that this doesn't work. It's hard enough for people who have homes to try and get clean and sober, much less someone who doesn't have permanent housing. So this new model called Housing First, basically the philosophy is to stabilize the individual with very little assessment or questions up front. You come in, we house you, stabilize you, provide you a safe place to put your things, and then we'll offer you services. So that's what we plan to do with these units. It's a continuum of care that we're trying to provide. And there's an emergency shelter on site, which is a 60-day unit. The county has also done Uluvini, which is low-income housing and transitional housing. And this is going to be added to that continuum of housing care. So there will be services provided.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Hilo, any council member?
Yeah, this is Councilmember Poindexter.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Council Chair. So this is similar to, because I was familiar with the housing when it was under the Catholic Charities, when it was down in the Kauai High area, and was there when it was first built. In fact, I think it was Mayor Lorraine Inouye was interim at that time. But it sounds like it's going to be similar to that, where the services would be on site. Is that what I'm hearing, Ms. Akiyama?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I like that model, that the services come to them and that they don't have to go out seeking that service, because then you're talking about transportation and all of these other things that, will impact, I think, the surrounding areas as well. So I think bringing services in is a perfect model. But I just want to say that. So thank you very much.
Part of the design plan includes the restoration of a existing building that's on site, which is where we plan to house the services. So there'll be rooms for meeting and things like that.
Thank you, Ms. Poindexter. Are you yielding?
Yes, and Councilmember Onishi has his light on.
Okay, still on first round, Mr. Onishi. I'll come back to you, Mr. Paleka or Mr. Ilagan. Any discussion? No? Okay, Mr. Onishi, go right ahead.
Okay, Susan, just one more question. So that's where Hope Services was operating, that building?
They are currently the lessees at this the Friendly Place property. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. Okay, on to still on second round, Ms. Eoff.
Thank you. Susan, one other thing that came up during testimony, I believe, and Mr. Kopp has raised this. This particular project is solely to deal with chronic homeless, but can you give us just, I know it's a little off topic, but just a little bit of your plans to deal with some of the homeless families and children that are out there as well?
Yeah, this particular project is going to be focusing on singles and the chronic homeless. I don't think it's a good idea to mix families with this particular population. Uluvini, which is right up the street on Hinalani Street, is actually a facility that we use to house families. So we do have a facility that we've built that tries to serve that population. And again, I think there's still a need for more units. So we're going to continue to work at plans for that.
Thank you. I've expressed this to you before, but I'm very interested in working with you to see how we can expand the opportunities at Uluvini to house more families.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eoff. Council members, any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to take a brief moment to state my support for this. I understand the problems that we're facing currently in this whole entire area with regards to the homeless population. We've been trying to do something for the last 2-3 years. We started the CHIRP, we started a lot of different things, and the model that came out the best was the housing first model. And a lot of the businesses supported this, and it's really tough, location-wise, to put people in these different locations, not in my backyard type of situation. It's very, very, very tough to say that it has to go there or there or there or there. I don't think this is a permanent solution. I think this is a great solution right now, currently, that we have to move forward with our current huge problem that we have in this Kailua area with regards to the people living on the streets. So I appreciate the administration coming through and working to finally get this going. It's been a long time. So I'm supportive of this. Yes, there are going to be issues with the businesses, how much it affects them, but there's a ton of issues that are happening right now. So that's why I can't understand that they wouldn't be supportive of something to get them off the streets, off of their doorways at nighttime, to put them in a place where they can actually sleep and be in a safe location. So I appreciate everything that they have to say because I'm just glad that we're doing something. So mahalo to you guys and council members. I urge your support for this project moving forward. I hope that we can move this forward quickly and just definitely address the problems that the businesses are going to be facing, and the streets, the lights. That those are all the issues that were brought up. Hopefully, we can all make it work with everybody's concern. But mahalo to you guys, and I'm going to move forward with the vote on this. Council members, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 8 ayes and 1 excuse. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, one more out of order, please.
Sure. Go right ahead, Mr. Onishi.
Resolution 362-16.
362-16. Mr. Clerk, if we could take that one out of order as well.
Resolution 362-16 authorizes the Director of Finance to negotiate a lease of real property, old job corps site situated at Piohonua, South Hilo, County and State of Hawaii, identified as task map key 23026-008. The Hawaii County Economic Opportunity Council authorizes the Finance Director to negotiate a 10-year lease with 2 10-year renewal options. The property, consisting of 2.263 acres, would be used to develop a self-sustainable botanical garden, visitor center, and related uses. Introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
I move to approve Resolution 362-16.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Mr. Onishi. I'll give the floor to Ms. Eoff first, and then Mr. Onishi.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And at our committee meeting, after hearing the concern about the length of the term of the lease, and to make it so that HCEOC can obtain further funding, I did agree to make an amendment, and I'd like to introduce that amendment at this time. It is Communication 594.1, and it changes the...
Ms. Yoff, did you want to make a motion to amend?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'd like to move to amend Resolution 362-16 with the contents of Communication 594.1.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Ms. Yoff and seconded by Mr. Onishi to amend Resolution 362-16 with Communication 59. Oh, sorry. Yeah, with Communication 594.1. Ms. Yoff, go right ahead.
It's simple to see. It just takes out the 10-year period and changes it to say long-term lease.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Yoff. Council members, any discussion on the amendment? Okay, hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That is 8 ayes. Now on to the main motion as amended.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that is a substantial amendment of the resolution.
Oh,
It would
that's
require
correct.
a rule suspension to proceed.
If we need to proceed, if we want to proceed with discussion, we'll have to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Onishi and seconded by Mr. Paleka to suspend the rules so that we can discuss this amendment today. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes. Motion passes. Ms. Yoff, motion as amended, or bill as amended, resolution as amended.
There's more discussion.
Yep. Any more discussion? Okay, Mr. Onishi, any more discussion?
No, just asking for support, and that with this long-term lease, now they'll be able to get more secured funding to help develop that property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Onishi. Council members, any other discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the resolution 362 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes. Motion passes. Mr. Clerk, can we do Communication 621?
Communication 621 requests the acceptance of a donation of gift cards for 254 12-pack ice cream cups with a combined value of $1,546.86 from Finance Director Deanna Sacco, dated January 4, 2016, donated by KTA Superstores for use by the Fire Department's Fire Prevention Bureau's education program.
May I have a motion to approve, May I have a motion to approve or file Communication 621? It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Is there any discussion? Okay, I just wanted to say mahalo KTA for the gift cards. Thank you very much for the donation. All in favor of the motion to file, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes. Motion passes. Okay. What are we on? Mr. Clerk, Resolution 357.
Resolution 357-16 accepts the dedication of road lots A1 and B1, being a portion of tax map key 73054-044, situated at Kealakehe Heights, Phase 2 at Kala'oa 4th, District of North Kona, Island and County of Hawaii, State of Hawaii, from Kealakehe Gardens Limited Partnership, a Hawaii Limited Partnership. The lot contains areas of 9,018 square feet and 1.193 acres respectively, and will be used for roadway and drainage purposes. Introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
Ms. Poindexter.
A motion to approve?
It's been moved by Ms. Poindexter and seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes. Motion passes. Mr. Clerk, Resolution 358.
Resolution 358-16 accepts the dedication of Lot B, being a portion of Grant 3148, Apana 4, to WP Leleiohoku, task map key 75007-009 portion, situated at Honuaula 1st, District of North Kona, Island of Hawaii, from Kona Hospitality LLC, a Hawaii Limited Liability Company, The lot contains an area of approximately 1,670 square feet and will be used for roadway purposes, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
Ms. Poindexter.
Motion to approve Resolution 358-16.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Poindexter and seconded by
Mr. Paleka.
Mr. Paleka. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes, motion passes. Mr. Clerk, Resolution 360.
Resolution 36016, Draft 2, accepts the donation of Lot 31 of the Hawaiian Paradise Park subdivision, being tax map key 150392667, situated at Kealakehe District of Puna, County and State of Hawaii, from Hawaiian Paradise Park Owners Association. The donation of approximately 20 acres will be used to establish a park. The Departments of Parks and Recreation must develop a master plan for the park within 2 years from the date of conveyance, or the property will be returned to the Hawaiian Paradise Park Owners Association, introduced by Mr. Ilagan.
Mr. Ilagan.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve Resolution 360-16, Draft 2, and file related communication 592.3 and 592.4.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Ilagan and seconded by Mr. Paleka to approve.
That's Councilmember Onishi.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
And seconded by Councilmember Onishi to approve Resolution 3662, Draft 2, and file all related communications. Mr. Ilagan, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a long conversation in committee, and the council members are fully aware on this resolution and the intent. I just wanted to show further support with communication 592.3 and 592.4. With 592.3, what you have is members in the community and also in other locations voicing comments in support of this resolution. And for example, I'm just going to randomly pick some. Eva Akana, a park would be wonderful for our children. June Conan, this has been needed for years, and it's important for HPP to proceed to establish more support services within HPP. Council members, what you have in front of you are lists of many people voicing out their support for the park. And Communication 592.4 is a full list of 233 people supporting the park also. So I just wanted to show that there is support in the community, and I just also want to thank you for your support in making this happen.
Thank you, Mr. Ilagan. Discussion, council members. Any other discussion from Hilo? Okay. Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of Resolution 360, Draft 2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 8 ayes. Motion passes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 364-16 authorizes the Director of Finance to dispose of real property tax map key 45019-020 tank site situated at Hamakua Island and County of Hawaii to the Water Board of County of Hawaii. Authorizes the Finance Director to transfer ownership of the tank site by way of sale at a cost of $1 to coordinate improvements to the water system in Hamakua. Introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Resolution 364-16.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Eoff, any discussion? Council members, any discussion on Resolution 364? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Resolution 366-16 accepts the dedication of Road Lot A, Garner Subdivision, subdivision of Parcel C, being a portion of Lot 6, Grant 5014, to H. Kahaloa into Lots C1 to C4 inclusive, Road Lot A, Opihikau, District of Puna, Island of Hawaii, State of Hawaii, from Glory M. Garner, trustee of the Bernard and Glory Garner Family Trust. The lot contains an area of approximately 0.115 acre and will be used for roadway purposes. Introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
Ms. Poindexter.
Motion to approve Resolution 366-16.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Poindexter, seconded by Mr. Onishi. Any discussion, Ms. Poindexter?
Nope, thank you.
Any other discussion, council members? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 8 ayes. Motion passes. Resolution 370.
Resolution 370 authorizes the Office of the Mayor to enter into an agreement with the State of Hawaii Department of the Attorney General Crime Prevention and Justice Assistance Division, awards additional grant funds in the amount of $23,151 to pay for training and updated equipment in the field of forensic science, introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Resolution 370-16.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Eoff, any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a minor amendment. There was a mistake in the final whereas. So if you could allow me to move to amend Resolution 370-16 with the contents of Communications 617.1.
May I have a second? It's been seconded by Ms. David. The motion was by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David.
And the correction is that in the very end of that finally be it resolved statement, the word fire should be changed to police.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eoff. Discussion, council members, on the amendment. Okay, hearing or seeing none, all in favor of amending Resolution 370 with the contents of Communication 617.1, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think, is Mr. Ilagan there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, sorry, I can't see him in the screen. So that's 8 ayes. Motion passes. Now on to the main bill as amended. I think this would be a substantial, even though, because it's one department to a whole next.
I confirm with the finance department that was a typo on their part.
Okay,
so we can
was
look
a
at it
typo.
as a typo. Yeah.
Okay. Council members, are you okay with that being a typo? I think that it's pretty. Okay.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the main motion as amended? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's 8 ayes. Motion passes. Next item. Yes.
May I have a request to take Bill 135 out of order and also Bill 120?
Come up. That's.
Okay. You know what?
I've been just accepting that we're going down.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to go through this from the top, Mr. Ilagan, if that's okay. There's a few items that we're gonna take out of order, but they were kind of at the top, so.
The reason why is to be able to facilitate with the director and finance and let her, if there are important questions on Bill 135, she's currently here to address those questions.
Okay.
Okay, on 135.
You're okay on 135? Okay. We can do 135, Mr. Clerk.
Bill 135 amends ordinance number 14-99, which amended ordinance number 13-21, which authorized the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement for a state water pollution control revolving fund loan for wastewater public improvement projects and authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose of financing qualified wastewater public improvements of the County of Hawaii. Increases from $18 million to $23 million the principal amount of general obligation bonds that may be issued by the county to repay loan costs for the Kealakehe wastewater treatment plant aeration upgrade and sludge removal project. Introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires 2/3 vote of the entire membership.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 135.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Eoff?
No, I'm interested to have Ms. Leathead Todd come forward because, as you know, this project's been ongoing for quite a while, and I know we're moving in a very good direction, although maybe Ms. Leathead Todd can explain exactly where we're at with this project and what our anticipated timing is to be able to finally have reusable water out of Kealakehe.
Is Ms. Leadhead Todd in Hilo? Earth to Hilo. Hilo?
She's not here.
Okay. Is Deanna Sacco?
Yes,
Deanna's
Deanna is
forward.
coming. Yeah.
Hi, Deanna Sacco, Finance Director. Sorry, I'm not sure about the timing. I know they're in a rush to move forward on this project. I know they've been working on it. So both 134 and 135 are related to increase the appropriation. But Bill 135 is actually to borrow the SRF funding, which interest rates are at an all-time low. And so it's less than 0.5%. So we really want to be able to take advantage of this borrowing opportunity. Thank you.
Any more discussion, Ms. Eoff?
No, thank you. I'm in support of this wholeheartedly.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Any other discussion, council members? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That's 8 ayes, motion passes. Okay, I think that was the one. Resolution 371, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 371-16 authorizes the acceptance of a monetary donation of $1,000 to the Hawaii County Police Department donated by the Hawaii Police Athletic Association to be used for the department's Hawaii Isles Police Activities League program, introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Resolution 371.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8 ayes, motion passes. Resolution 372.
Resolution 372-16 authorizes the payment of funds of a later fiscal year and of more than one fiscal year for a multi-year agreement for voice over Internet protocol service. Authorize the mayor to enter into a 3-year agreement with the State of Hawaii Procurement Office contract to provide VoIP services for up to 3 county locations, introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Resolution 372.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion, Ms. Eoff?
Thank you. My understanding is that this will save the county, looks like $29,000 over 3 years, and it's just to make sure we have our voice over systems working in the county building, El Puni Center, and West Hawaii Civic Center. I'm not sure if anybody is in Hilo to explain it a little bit better, but that's my understanding.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eoff. Council members, any other discussion? Okay, hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is Mr. Ilagan in the room?
Yes.
Okay, 8 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I gotta go.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Onishi.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have to leave too for my meeting on the dengue update in Hamakua. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Just for the record, Mr. Onishi and Ms. Poindexter had memos that said they had to leave at 5 o'clock to be able to go to their community meetings. So now currently we have 6 members present. Just in case we go through some capital things. So we have a supermajority still. Okay, Mr. Clerk, Bill 79.
Bill 79 amends Section 25-8-3 North Kona District Zone Map, Article 8, Chapter 25, Zoning Code of the Hawaii County Code, 1983-2005 edition by changing the district classification from agricultural 3 acres, A3A, to family agricultural 1 acre, FA1A, at Keopu 3rd, North Kona, Hawaii, covered by tax map key 75024-078, applicant Charles E. Lips Jr. and Janet S. Lips Trust. Area 3.039 acres. The Leeward Planning Commission forwards its favorable recommendation for this change of zone, which would allow the applicant to apply for the subdivision of the property to 2 lots. The applicant states that the Makai lot would be conveyed to a family member to build a residence. Introduced by Mr. Ilgan by request, postponed September 16th. There is a pending motion on the floor by Mr. Ilgan, seconded by Mr. Onishi to approve Bill 79.
Mr. Ilagan.
Oh,
sorry, there's a pending motion. I apologize. Okay, so we're currently on Bill 79. Council members, discussion. Ms. Eoff.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. This was postponed, and we discussed it quite a few months back in committee. At that time, we had this come to us with both a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. However, there was an unfavorable recommendation from the director and the department, which I went over very carefully. This is in my district. And at this point, I'm going to continue to vote against this rezoning. I believe that the unfavorable recommendation was important for us to understand the reasons behind it. And one thing I just wanted to stress is that we are bound to uphold the county charter. That is the constitution for the county. And this is out of section 3-15B of the charter. It states that no public improvement or project or subdivision or zoning ordinance shall be initiated or adopted unless the same conforms to and implements the general plan. So in the background report and the director's unfavorable recommendation, he points out, and I double-checked this with staff and read it over myself, that being that this property is located within the important ag lands within the Kona Coffee Belt, this request to take it from a 3-acre parcel down to 1 acre would be inconsistent with the general plan and the Kona CDP. Both of those encourage and emphasize maintaining the important ag lands within the Kona Coffee Belt. And we are not to use our powers of zoning to allow urban encroachment in these areas. So that's why I'm going to continue to vote no on this. And I've had communication with Mr. Lips, and he's not here today, so I guess I'll yield at this time. That's my position, though.
Thank you, Ms. Seoff. Council members in Hilo, any discussion? I know Ms. Willie wanted to have discussion. Okay. Mrs. Willie?
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole intent there is to preserve land for ag use, and I was just trying to figure out if there is a way that we can actually come to do something here that would not be contrary to those provisions in the plan. And the only thing that I really could come up with is that if he were willing to actually say, I think it's 1.5 acres that's involved, and dedicate 1 acre of that for ag use where it's permanent, that would mean you'd have to do it as an easement or a development agreement or some kind of form, and therefore allow a building, the additional building would have to be just on the 1/2 acre. I think that would be comply, and not only would we preserving it for potential ag use in this area that we want to preserve it, but we would have actually preserved it. So that was sort of he's sounded like he might be willing to do that. That would be, I think that if we were to do that, that would be, as I read it, in compliance. We'd actually set aside an entire acre, and you would have to have it where it was permanent and there was some outside, whether it was as an easement or a development agreement, so that it was something that was enforceable. So that was trying to actually see if out of this negative we could turn it into even more of a positive, and that was really the one and only way that I could come up to. Now I'd just like to ask Karen, can you I know that's sort of adding a whole new dimension, but just can I get some input from you on that?
Well,
go right ahead.
Thank you. I have had some discussions about that, and I know that sounds like a creative and interesting idea, but I'm very concerned about setting precedent. There's a lot of other 3-acre landowners out there that will be looking at ways to subdivide and rezone their parcels all over this island, and especially in that area. And I don't believe that it's wise of us to open up that precedent at this point. So.
Can I get a phone?
You still have the phone. The phone.
So even if where we make it something permanent, even if where we're doing it and they're required to, or we're setting a precedent that the only way that they can actually subdivide is if they are in fact not only using it for ag land, but they're making it that it has to be perpetual, that we're making it intuitive with,
I don't believe that we can enforce some of those ideas through zoning. That's my understanding.
through like a development agreement or something along that line. I'm just. So, yeah, Dwayne, can you come forward?
Dwayne Kanuha, Planning Director.
Yeah, so I was just pursuing that idea as if we actually required, if he would actually dedicate a full acre of ag use and do it, and where it could be enforced outside, either whether it's a development agreement or an easement. I know that's how on some of the things DLNR does, is where you have actually an easement. So there's an independent insurance that is going on, and actually not just otherwise we're saying no, and we're basically leaving these people with a big lawn, at just a big lawn. It's potential. So I'm really into that we not just do the potential, but that we actually could make it where it does happen, and that would actually push their home. They would have to keep it back by that shed, but we would know that forever we're actually ensuring that there is an acre of ag land there, ag used for agriculture.
So how are you proposing this would
I
work?
was proposing it, number one, that that just basically put it back in his lap to do. You come up with a way, whether it's a development agreement or an easement with an outside entity to enforce that. They basically, in a way, lose control of that acre, and it becomes used for ag. And we know that if they're not able to come up with a valid enough way that sort of satisfies that actual ag use, that then we would still say no. But it gives the option of us changing something into, instead of saying no because we want to preserve this as potential ag land, and it may then always, he'll sell it to somebody else that can afford to keep an acre and a half of front lawn and not have any ag use. So I was just trying to, and not, I'm not putting on my lawyer hat how I would exactly write it up, but if he can provide that it would at least give us an option, and the only precedent it would say is that, if you're subdividing, you have to actually give us dedicated, preserved agriculture. So that was my thought.
We've had this discussion, I think, before, and if that was in fact something that was workable for Mr. Lips, then he wouldn't need to rezone the property. He could come in for an agricultural farm dwelling. But that did not work for Mr. Lips because the additional dwelling would have some bearing on the way his mortgage was structured. So that's the way I understood it, and I've had discussions with him, and that seemed to be the issue that he had.
Okay. Well, that's anyway. That's what I would propose if he could and would and do it. That for me, I would think that would be good. If he's unable to do it or whatever, then obviously that doesn't work. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Council members in Hilo, any discussion? Okay. Discussion, council members, before I go to second round. Okay, on to second round. Any other discussion, Ms. Eoff? Okay. I really, really looked hard at this one for a long time and trying to find a way to satisfy the needs of the applicant as well as the county's needs. And, you know, it really took a long time. And I know Ms. Eoff tried really hard. I know the planning department really worked with the applicant to find some way. And, you know, I think what came back was, you know, they couldn't find a solution between either. And that's why we're currently faced with what we have in front of us. I agree, you know, try to work it out. How can it all be worked out? And maybe there's a middle ground there. But, you know, what we have in front of us is what the original document was, and it's what the middle ground could be for the applicant, I think, which is the full ground. So, you know, this is a tough one. I mean, I really need to, you know, highly go with the recommendations of the council member and their district and who they represent. You know, because this was not an easy one to say no to, not an easy one to say yes to. But you know, I'm okay with my decision on this, and I'll just say that. So, Ms. Willie, go right ahead before I close it out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, my understanding just from the brief conversations and that he would consider doing what I said, and I know you're getting other messages, so maybe that's wrong. I think I would, you know, postpone it and allow him to actually come in and say, you know, he wouldn't do it, but I'm not going to stop the urge to stop the vote, but that would be me. I just think we would actually achieve what we're, you know, if we could work it out, it would, for me, satisfy it. But I guess from what the planning director is saying is he feels he pursued some of this. I didn't get the message. Mr. Lipp isn't here, so anyway, that would be my reservation.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Ms. Yoff?
I just wanted to say that our long-range planning policies encourage us not to increase density in these areas or urbanize. And I think if we're going to change those policies, then my understanding is we need to change the general plan and the CDP first, rather than trying to finagle something to work. So I know it's complex and unfortunate, but that's kind of where I think we got to remember what we're doing here.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Willie. I guess any more discussion? Okay, well, I'm going to go for the vote then. All in favor of approving of the motion to approve, say aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, that's 2 ayes and 4 noes. Silence is aye. Yeah. Hilo, can you hear us? Mr. Ilagan?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, can I confirm the vote? 2 ayes?
Yes, that vote is correct.
Okay, thank you. The motion fails. Okay, Mr. Clerk, Bill 101.
Bill 101 Draft 2 initiates an amendment to Article 14, Section 14-5 of the Hawaii County Charter 2014 relating to the Board of Ethics. Amendments would increase membership from 5 to 9 members, decrease members' term from 5 to 4 years, add council district residency requirements, and allow each council member to nominate 2 persons from his or her council district to serve on the board, from which one would be appointed by the mayor, subject to confirmation by the council, introduced by Ms. Willie. Postponed December 14th. There is a motion on the floor by Ms. Willie, seconded by Mr. Paleka to approve Bill 101 Draft 2.
Ms. Willie.
Yes. So it's on the floor, 101.
Yep.
Draft 2. Okay, just quick general statement. Ethics is clearly very important to our island's residents, and it's not just a matter of having high standards that we set forth, which we've worked on, but also ensuring accountability for violations that are found. And so we really need to have the best and the best working Board of Ethics, because that's really what we have, and that's where we do how we address as a county level potential ethics violations. And I do not, I don't like the idea of, okay, we don't do it and we let the state take care of it or the feds take care of it. That we ought to keep our own house clean and address them, regardless of who it is. That no county employee is above the law. This bill is really working not just in terms of let's increase the number of members, but it's really and addressing quorum, but it's also looking at diversity and minimizing appointments where there would be cronies or sort of a club group, all sort of appointed, selected by one person here, the mayor. So I think the key issue of concern that we were discussing was the provision I had where instead of the mayor making the choice, that it would be the council members would propose 2 members and the mayor would choose that, which would mean basically in terms of going out and selecting people, you have a lot more selecting and offering 10 people rather than 1. I do have I think there was also issues in terms of the number, how board members and if they should length of term of service, and there was also suggestions maybe it should be 3-year terms, but where then people could, those 3 years could be more than 1 term. And also that positions should be staggered came up. And one thing that Ms. David had brought up was, well, maybe there would be an in-between position that if continuing to have the members be appointed by the mayor and shall be subject to confirmation by the council, but if a position is open for a certain length of time, say 3 months, then a person to fill that position could be appointed by a council member representing the district encompassed by the vacancy. And again, subject to confirmation by the council. And I think the one other issue that we really discussed was should it be 9 members or whether that's a little bit unwieldy or whether it should be maybe 7 positions. I thought the 9 was good really because it would mean that you could do 1 member from each district. So even if it was the mayor choosing it, you would have that diversity in there. So I did do a communication incorporating really what sort of my modeling of what Miss David wrote and adding in some of the other. And so that's communication number 494.13. But I think what I should do perhaps is allow any discussion just on the bill itself rather than do the amendment so you can discuss it. But again, I feel that the 9 is good. It really gets it a representative group. I think it's Honolulu. I can't remember, is it Honolulu or Maui that has 9, and I couldn't get any points of concern there. I think that in this situation here where we've allowed, the mayor has had, this is one of his key jobs, is to do this, is to appoint members, and it hasn't happened, and it's in the board where, that's the only board that he really has any accountability to. So I think that having others than the one where the mayor is in control of all of the membership, is important. So I want to offer my sort of compromise here, but before that, I'm going to yield in case there are others that would like to speak on the bill as it is.
Ms. Wheeler, I would recommend just going with the amendment.
Okay.
I think everybody had an opportunity to speak the last time about the bill.
Didn't want to cut
Yeah,
people
no,
off.
I appreciate that, and but I think we
so
could.
I move to amend Bill 101 Draft 2 with the contents of Communication 494.13.
It's been moved by Ms. Willie. May I have a second? Second by Ms. David. Go right ahead, Ms. Willie.
Okay, so I just want to quickly run through this. The board members clarified that it would be staggered, and there's provisions down at these later sections that would allow for how that would happen. And here, again, no member could serve more than 2 terms, but anyone who's appointed for less than 3 years could serve another full 3-year terms. And then the members would, again, still be, the mayor still has that power to make the appointment subject to confirmation of the council. And then it's only if a position remains vacant and basically hasn't done it for more than 3 months, then a person to fill the position may be appointed by the council member who represents the district, subject to confirmation by the council. And then again, it continues to clarify holding meetings on both sides of the island, so it would alternate between east side, Hilo side, and west side, Kona. And then there are several other changes here that were requested by suggested by Mr. Adams on the board, just change the wording of the without limitations of its functions or conduct. So I think that it's good. Having 9 members would mean a quorum would be 5, and not where, you're really making it so this would be functional and a likelihood that they could have meetings. I mean, it really is despicable the length of time that's gone on right now without there being any functioning ethics code on this island. So I'll leave it at that, and just if there are any questions, I urge, we still have, what do we need? What would we need? Another 1 vote? How many more? This would have to pass another.
Well, this is going to have to go through council again. And
okay.
So another 2 more times.
Okay, so
another month.
The only
of
thing that I'm
hearings,
just asking is that I would ask that those of us that are here support this to move it on, so that we could, the others that are on the council would also be able to weigh in on it.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. Ms. Yoff.
Question. Could I ask Mr. Clerk a question? To amend at this point would take five votes, right?
That's correct. Only the main motion, to move it forward to second reading requires a supermajority. Any other motion would require.
And if we did amend today, would we be required to put it off to the next meeting anyways for further discussion?
No, because you're only at the first of 3 required readings.
So in order to get more council members' input, we'd actually have to postpone it.
It'd be a greater chance. Anyways, I don't want to speak for it.
Okay. I think I understand the process. Okay. Well, since I have the floor, I'm just going to say that I generally support Ms. Willie's efforts to keep working on this, and I see some things in here that I'd like to support, and I'd like to hear from others as well. But I think the amendment is an improvement in certain ways. And I'm not sure how we would work on it if we wanted to amend with this communication, and then we would just keep further amending it if we worked on it later? Okay. Okay, I'm going to yield at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yehoff. Mr. Paleka or Mr. Ilagan, any discussion? Or Mr. Paleka?
Not at this time.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I have Ms. David ready. Ms. David?
Mahalo, Chair. Margaret, thank you very much. I think I read this. It's getting a lot clearer, and I think it's incorporating a lot of the comments and discussions that we've had in the past. And I thank you for leaving the appointment of the by the mayor in. I think that's very important as far as separation of powers that I was talking about. And also for including the paragraph about the vacancy remaining for 3 months. And I like that. I just have a comment for food for thought, because it says that a person, if it remains for 3 months, the vacancy, then a person to fill the position may be appointed by the council member. I would like for you to consider, instead of appointed by the council member, nominated by the council member, because then we have a clear, the mayor appoints, we confirm. If he doesn't, then as council members, we don't assume his role. We nominate someone from our district. And so that would be my question to you, if we could consider changing appointed by a council member to nominated. Otherwise, I think the only other issue I was looking at would be the alternate windward. How do you see that happening? This month's meeting in Kona, next month in Hilo, or do they have the option of just having an equal amount of meetings throughout the year in both sides? Logistically, I mean, just thinking about if you have a very contentious subject matter, and whether it would make sense to just keep it at the venue you've had it initially. I'm not sure, but that's something. It's not going to make or break me, but I just was noting that the alternate.
May I respond to that?
But otherwise, if you'd consider those things, it's getting there, Mark. Thank you very much, and I yield.
Thank you. And that's on first round. Ms. Willie, if you'd like to start second round.
Yeah. I agree to change it to nominate, and I think that's actually better wording. I sort of stumbled on that word when I realized that. And the other thing is, I think that's a very good point about the alternating, because it might be that there's an ethics violation and it has to do with people in Hilo or people there. But I think I would still like it that there is the change, but so I would have to work on the drafting, but I would definitely consider that a friendly proposal and would be willing to adjust that. I know that I heard that members on the committee have been talking about that they really need to be doing, that's really a good idea. So anyway, I agreeable to work on both of those.
Thank you, Ms. Willie. I definitely need more time looking this over. I think we just got this yesterday or this morning. Because I really want to talk to Corp Council, and there's a lot of different things I need to figure out before I want to vote on this amendment. I'm genuinely supportive of working it out. So, Miss Willie, if you'd like, I think the next step. Do we want to, council members, any other discussion on this, or are we just going to go for the vote? Mr. Paleka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I just like to point out, we've been discussing this bill, and it's a good attempt in trying to resolve what may be perceived to be an issue with appointments of our ethics board. But I think today was a example of us, the council itself. We had an opportunity to appoint two individuals, and we didn't. So we also have to look at ourselves, because there's been a lot of back and forth about the administration, and pointing to that. Oh, if the administration doesn't do it, then we should do it. Crossing over those separation of powers shouldn't be taken lightly for me. And I was looking forward to having a ethics board, and with 5, I think, and really, to me, the numbers really don't matter. It just, we need to get a board appointed, functioning, and we all have to take responsibility for that, because we are responsible. Because we all have a job to do in the appointment, and having this body up and running. So I just wanted to say that, having heard the discussion, and thank you all for your discussion. But at this point, I'm not going to be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Paleka. And we're still back on the amendment. So, Ms. Willie, I'm going to leave it up to you. You have the last say right now on this amendment, if we'd like to vote, or there's any other.
I'm going to move to postpone. I want to make it as best possible, and I do think it's important, and I don't think it's that just adding two more.
Before you go into discussion, you made a motion to postpone, and I'm looking for a second. It's been seconded by Ms. Eoff. Now, Ms. Willie.
I'm sorry, before she, can we have a date, please?
Oh.
Or some other signifier.
Motion to postpone to February 3rd. Council meeting?
That sounds good.
Okay, that was the motion, and seconded by Ms. Eoff.
Just make sure that I can get this through, and I think I should be able to.
Or would you like it to the call of the chair?
Can we do to the call of the chair, and then I can, because I really wanted to get this amendment on the agenda so the public can see it. And as working it through, that didn't happen. So let's do call of the chair, and if the timing's good, I mean, that's my intent, then we can do it on the 3rd, or we can do it on the 17th.
Okay. The motion, let me restate it, was to postpone. Mr. Clerk, are we postponing this entire thing, this amendment, or I need some clarification on that?
When we return to this, the amendment will be on the floor.
Okay. So we're postponing the entire bill?
We're postponing further action today.
Okay.
Correct.
If everybody's clear about that.
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion on the postponement? Hearing or seeing none. All in favor of postponing this to the call of the chair, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's 6 ayes. Is that correct, Hilo? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, for the postponement.
Okay, for the postponement, 6 ayes. So this is now postponed to the call of the chair.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Ilagan.
Clarification on Bill 79, whether you want to do a consideration or what, but it's actually 2 no's.
Okay, Mr. Clerk?
If I may, I think that when you requested confirmation / clarification from Hilo, they thought you meant did you vote no, and they said yes. Am I correct, Mr. Ilagan?
Yes.
So you had meant to respond that you had voted no as well.
Yes. I just want to make sure it's clarified that that's what we voted.
Okay.
You know,
Mr. Clerk,
it might be best
It
just
is
to.
not. It is not 2 yeses. It is 2 nos.
Okay, okay. Because the
Forgive
record
my
currently shows
yes.
the record currently shows 4 no's and 2 yeses. So I think there might be we might need to have a motion to reconsider if that was the case.
And Mr. Paleka second.
Well.
Okay, there's been a motion to reconsider.
I'm sorry, but only a member of the prevailing side, which in this case was not even enough votes to do anything, can make a motion to reconsider the vote.
But we were the prevailing side, but it was just.
Well, no, actually, the prevailing side was the defeating of the motion. But that being the case, if one of these people here would just make the motion to reconsider, there would be a second from anyone, then just approve that motion, then we can go right back and just quickly take the vote again.
Okay. So may I, from the prevailing side of Bill 79, may I have a motion to reconsider?
I move to reconsider
Bill 79 and bring it back to the floor. It's been moved by Ms. Willie and seconded by Ms. David to reconsider Bill 79. Is that a discussion-worthy motion?
Normally it might be, but I'm thinking it's probably not. So.
Okay. The only members that get to vote on this are...
No, everybody does.
Oh, everybody gets to vote.
Just the motion itself.
Got it. Okay, all in favor of reconsidering Bill 79, say aye.
Aye.
I think that was 2 ayes from Hilo. Okay, now we're...
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Nope. So Bill 79 has been reconsidered, and let's just bring up Bill 79. I think we discussed this enough. This is just in clarification, wanting to get the vote correct. Thank you, Mr. Iligan, for bringing that up. I'm glad you caught that.
Thank you for the correction.
Okay. I'm gonna just call for the vote if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
All in favor of Bill 79, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, that is 6 no's. We got that? 6 no's and 3 excuse. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ligon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, I have no idea where we are at.
We are on Bill 119, Draft 2.
Thank you. If you could bring up Bill 119, Draft 2.
Bill 119, Draft 2 amends Chapter 24 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition relating to vehicles and traffic, adds portions of the West Hawaii Civic Center's public parking area to Article 10, Division 5, Section 24-284 to our parking area, subsection F, Kona, introduced by Ms. Poindexter.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 119, Draft 2? It's been moved by Ms. David, and may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Paleka. Is there any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Bill 123 amends Ordinance Number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016. Adds the Office of Housing and Community Development, OHCD, Facilities Maintenance and Renovation Project for $500,000 to the capital budget. Funds for this project shall be provided from General Obligation Bonds, Capital Projects Fund, fund balance under other sources, $500,000. Funds be used for general repairs and maintenance to all OHCD housing facilities. Introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires a 2/3 vote of the entire membership.
Ms. Eoff?
Move to approve Bill 123.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Ms. Eoff, any discussion?
No, I just urge us to support this. Ms. Sakiyama had explained to me that it's for renovations throughout the entire island on all of their facilities. So we need to support this so they can take care of it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eoff. Any other discussion, council members? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 6 ayes. Motion passes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Bill 125 amends ordinance number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016, adds the Parks and Recreation Honolulu Park new playground equipment county project for $500,000 to the capital budget. Funds for this project shall be provided from general obligation bonds, capital projects fund, fund balance, and other sources, $500,000. Funds will be used for the construction of new playground equipment at Honolulu Park. Introduced by Ms. Poindexter, requires a 2/3 vote of the entire membership.
May I have a motion to approve Bill 125?
Motion to approve Bill 125.
May I have a second? It's been moved by Mr. Paleka, seconded by Ms. David. Discussion, council members. Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Bill 132 amends ordinance number 15-57 as amended the operating budget for the County of Hawaii for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2016, increases revenues in the federal grants, improved forensic sciences account, $23,151, and appropriates the same to the improved forensic services account. Funds will be used to pay for training and updated equipment in the field of forensic science. Introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 132.
It's been moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Bill 133 amends ordinance number 15-57 as amended the operating budget for the County of Hawaii for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2016, increases revenues in the Police Department private contributions account, $1,000, and appropriates the same to the Hawaii Isles Police Activities League High PAL other current expenses account. Funds be used for the department's High PAL program. Introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 133.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That's 6 ayes. Next item.
Bill 134.
134.
Correct. Amends ordinance number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016 as the environmental management Kealakehe wastewater treatment plant upgrade and sludge removal state revolving funds project for $5 million to the capital budget. Funds for this project shall be provided from SRF, $5 million. Funds will be used to replace liners at the wastewater treatment facility. Introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires a 2/3 vote.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 134.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Discussion, council members. Ms. Eoff.
Just to say thank you that we're going after the state revolving funds. I think Deanna mentioned earlier that it's a low interest rate, very low right now, so this is important that we keep working on the Kealakehe wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you, Ms. Eoff. Council members, any other discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Bill 135.
I think we got that one, yeah. And 136. I think we're up to second reading.
Okay.
We're up to
We did 135. We did 136.
Yes.
Bill 120.
Bill 120 amends ordinance number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016. Adds the Public Works Lower Puna Lava Response Projects Federal Emergency Management Agency project for $10 million to the capital budget. Funds for this project shall be provided from federal grants receivable, $10 million. Funds will be used towards reimbursable expenditures incurred for the FEMA portion of the June 27, 2014 lava flow on the northeast flank of Pu'u'o'o. Introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires a 2/3 vote.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 120.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion, council members? Ms. Eoff?
No, I think we discussed this last time. It's a good we're getting reimbursed.
Council members, any more discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
That's 6 ayes and 6 ayes. Motion passes. Bill 121.
Bill 121 amends ordinance number 15-58 as amended relating to public improvements and financing thereof for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to June 30, 2016. Reappropriates lapsed fuel tax funds for previous years to the capital budget. funds shall be provided from the fuel tax increase 12-14 account $2,070,063.90 and will be used for projects listed in Exhibit A, introduced by Ms. Eoff, requires two-thirds vote.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 121.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Bill 122.
Bill 122 amends ordinance number 15-57 as amended the operating budget for the County of Hawaii for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2016, appropriates revenues in the fund balance from previous year reserved account $136,056.48 and appropriates the same to the transfer to capital projects fund highway account. These excess fuel tax revenues collected in fiscal year 2014-2015 would be used by the Department of Public Works Highway Division, introduced by Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 122.
Moved by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Reports.
Planning Committee Report 38, nomination of Pauline Kealakehe to the Cultural Resources Commission.
May I have a motion to approve the nomination of Pauline Kealakehe and file communication 610?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. David, seconded by Ms. Eoff. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. Next item.
Planning Committee Report number 39, nomination of Teresa K. Donham to the Cultural Resources Commission.
May I have a motion to approve the nomination of Teresa Donham?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. David, seconded by Ms. Eoff. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 6 ayes, motion passes. Mr. Clerk, can you just read in the rest 6, 7, 8, and 9?
Public Safety Mass Transit Committee Report 6, nomination of Michael Elakau to the Transportation Commission. Public Safety Mass Transit Committee Report 7, nomination of Chris L. Hoke to the Transportation Commission. Public Safety Mass Transportation Committee Report number 8, nomination of Radford Hirai to the Transportation Commission. And Public Safety and Mass Transit Committee Report number 9, nomination of Wendy Davis to the Transportation Commission.
May I have a motion to approve Michael Akal to the Transportation Commission?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Paleka and seconded by Ms. Eoff. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We have a motion to approve Chris Hoke to the Transportation Commission.
Motion to approve Chris Hoke to the Transportation Commission.
It's been moved by Mr. Paleka, seconded by Ms. David. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? 6 ayes. Mr. Iligan's still in the room, yeah? Oh, sorry, I couldn't see you.
I'm here.
It was zoomed in so much that I couldn't see you. Okay, motion passes. We have a motion to approve Radford Hirai to the Transportation Commission.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Paleka, seconded by Ms. Eoff. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? 6 ayes, motion passes. We have a motion to approve Wendy Davis to the Transportation Commission.
Honolulu. So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Mr. Paleka, seconded by Ms. Eoff. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor say aye. Motion is approved, 6 ayes. Mr. Clerk, we got everything?
All clear.
Okay, may I have it's been moved to adjourn by Ms. Eoff, seconded by Ms. David. All in favor say aye. We are adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you, council members. Mahalo. Have a great weekend.